Hi, I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber, coming to you on YouTube Live. Happy Monday, everybody. If this is your first time here and you're catching this on a video, on a replay, don't leave yet. Hang out. We get a lot of great comments from people that want to get into the trades, plumbers that are in the trades, plumbers that want to own their own business, and maybe even business owners that are wanting to do things to help them grow. So if you hadn't been here before, we talk about all things plumbing, and literally it's a good place to hang out. This is a live stream every Monday. It's a great place to hang out because we get all kinds of people in here, a lot of comments, a lot of questions, good things going back and forth. Great to have you in here. But you know what? If there's something that you're wanting to learn in particular, you may go jump over to one of the videos and check it out. But if not, man, hang out. If you are here live, welcome to the show. We are going to have fun today, as we do every Monday. We go live from 3 to 5:30, thereabout. What we're trying to do, we're trying to look at what can we do to create a members special group. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people jump in here. And it's really neat, but sometimes there's so many questions asked, we can't get to all of them. And we're thinking about creating a members only deal where it's a little more private, a little more intimate. Have fun, visit, and really just get to talk and see what everybody's thinking and what's going on. So if you're here, thanks for being here. Glad to have you here. Got Will on the other side of the camera back here, making sure everything happens. And hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I'm actually going to set that over there and bring this one into here. Look at this. I love it. Make sure I got everything lined up and looking good. As you see, the Ferguson Diner is up. We officially, and guys, make sure you check out the Wednesday video. We have officially been sponsored by Ferguson. So just wanted to say, look, we did it for a reason. They've done a lot of good things for the plumbing industry. So it was great for us to team up with them. And hopefully, man, we built a long-term relationship together. So, Will, have we got any questions in here? See, we already got a super chat to Skippy. How you doing, brother? Good to see you in here. Plumber came by last week, hammering and the handyman style fixes and fixed everything right up. Hammering was due to air in the system. Very cool. And, you know, that's a neat deal because a lot of people want to come in and say, what can we do? What can we do to make the hammering stop? What can we do? And just a lot of different things. And the cool thing is sometimes it's just, let's go back to the basics. Let's get all the water out. Let's get all the air out. Let's refill everything, high point vent everything, get all the air out that we can and see if that fixes it and what it does. So to Skippy, man, congratulations. I'm glad it was that easy of a fix. I'm glad it wasn't anything major that could have been a big problem. So, man, how was your week? Black Ghost Schwarzkaiser, man, I owe you. There you go. What did you find out about titanium pipes? Number one, had a busy weekend. Hadn't got to look it up yet. I will do that today. If you want to send me an email, and I say today, we're not going to get out of here till about 5:30 or 6. Still haven't figured anything out about it. I have had a crazy week. We are, just so y'all know, Julie and I are getting ready to actually go to Seattle. No, not Seattle. Sorry about that. Scottsdale. We're flying into Phoenix on Wednesday. I'm speaking there at an event. And, man, looking forward to it because it's pretty cool. I love it when I get to speak about YouTube. Actually got out this morning and went and did a recording for an event. They sent a video crew down from Utah. And, man, it was really pretty cool. So I love doing it. I love talking about YouTube and how I'm using it to help grow a trades business and things like that. So it's pretty cool, but needless to say, I've had a crazy week trying to get ready for that, trying to get ready to go out of town. So Black Ghost Schwarzkaiser, I'll tell you, brother, I owe you an apology, but I will get back on that and see what we can figure out. Titanium pipe, Will. Stephen Lozano, how are you, sir? I appreciate the super chat. It says, my house still has lead piping, but it's not really corroded. Should I replace the pipe with a newer material or should I keep it? Stephen, here's the deal. Lead is bad if it can get into your system. And mostly lead pipe in a building is on the sewer line, on the drain line. And if you're not having any problems with it, it doesn't need to be replaced. And I say that because it's not going to get into the water, it's not going to leach into it, and you're not going to get lead in your system. So the cool thing about it is, look, if it's still holding up and working, man, you're doing good. It's funny because I have a lot of real estate agents reach out and ask us about houses that have cast iron. And they're like, hey, do I need to make the, or do I need to make the cellar replace the cast iron pipe and change it to PVC because I want to buy this house? And real estate agents say, hey, look, I'm just not going to recommend my buyers buy a house with cast iron. It's like, okay, that's probably about 80% of the homes in Dallas. So as long as you know you just eliminated those from your list of homes you could possibly sell, that's going to kind of cut into your bank account. So anyway, if you've got lead pipes, that's not necessarily a problem, especially if they're not leaking. You're not having issues with it. So don't just change it because you need to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's good. Angel L says, as time is getting closer for that debate on TDLR, what do you think is going to happen? And what other news do you have? Is the board doing anything, or is this it? And TDLR is actually going to take over. You know, I hadn't talked to Brian Francis lately. I have talked to Lisa Hill. TDLR just went under sunset review and did real well. The good thing is, if you go back and look at what the Texas State Board was dealing with on their issues, most of those have been fixed. And Will, I thought I had my mask in here. I guess I laid it on my desk. I saw somebody put in a link to the Teespring. Guys, I got to tell y'all, Julie and I went to Austin last weekend. Not this weekend, but last weekend. And it was crazy. And this made me think of it going down to Austin for TDR and the Texas State Board. So, Angel, here, let me get back to you real quick because Will's going to get that mask. Here's the cool thing is the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners has fixed a lot of the problems. They have fixed 90%, 95% of it. And I think that that's going to be very beneficial to them. TDLR, though, look, man, they got their stuff together. They do things right. They look good. That they make things happen. And, man, I got to tell you, Brian Francis is a great guy. Can't say anything at all bad about him. But it is getting to the point where we're fixing to start fighting for that again. We're fixing to start talking about that again. Hashtag 71K Plum Strong on Facebook. If you hadn't been in there, you need to get in there and hear what's going on. We were supposed to have a meeting last week, but we didn't because of the presidential debate, which, pretty good. Anyway, Angel L, man, we're still up in arms. We're still fighting. I don't want to say fighting the governor, but, he hadn't done the things he was supposed to do, and that kind of makes it hard on all of us. A funny thing is, Ken Paxton, I see Paul Paxton here. Hello, good to see you, brother. Ken Paxton just got in trouble for, not doing what he's supposed to do. I think that's a big surprise. But, I've been trying to talk to his wife, Angela Paxton, because she's a senator in my work area. And, man, can't even get her to talk to me, which is sad. But, I applied to be on the board, and it's part of their job as me being their constituents to either talk to me, help me, point me in the right direction, talk to the governor for me, do some different things. Anyway, Ken Paxton got in trouble, and here's what he did. He literally, here a while back, changed the law, passed a law, whatever it is he did, but he made it where it's okay for home inspectors to run a sewer camera down a sewer line. And I got to tell you, every time one of my guys goes out to run a sewer camera, I worry about it because we know the issues that can happen if a sewer camera gets hung up, if it gets stuck, if problems happen and we can't get it back out. So there's a lot of things that scare me about it. And now we've let home inspectors have permission to do that so they can get into the sewer line and run a camera. And a home inspector who has no real training in plumbing is going to be able to tell people whether that sewer is good or not. There are going to be lawsuits out the wazoo, because even when we do a sewer water test for a new home buyer, it's not with a camera. We go in there and do a test to tell you, is there a leak or not? And the first time a home inspector goes in and says, hey, the sewer is good, nothing's wrong, the people have foundation problems, and we go in and test it, and they say, hey, it's leaking from one end to the other, lawsuit city, so good luck. Neil, the urban explorer, is in the house. Neil, see, how we doing? We at Loch Ness are looking for monsters. You know, don't know what you're smoking. I started to say this morning, but it's for you. It's tonight. Anyway, brother, it's good to see you in here. And yes, Paul's right. He is legendary. Talon, thank you for the super chat. Roger, is Aquatherm going to replace PEX in 10 years? And do you know any good training programs? What you need to do, anytime you want to get into a training program for any material, contact the distributor you get it from. Contact Ferguson and say, hey, look, we buy through you. We want training on Bradford White water heaters. And they can work it out to get Bradford White in for you to help you out. So training programs, reach out. I love it when you can get the manufacturer to do a training program. I've actually been to iTech up at Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I tell you what, I loved it because I got so much information from them, and man, it was good. Then I found out like Rigid has a training school. Milwaukee's got a place. Man, I'm wanting to get out here and learn all that I can from all these different people and the manufacturers and the tools. So tell them what I'll tell you is find out who your company buys what product it is through. Contact that distributor and say, hey, look, we'd like to get a training course. We'd like to get a certification, anything in here that we can to help us do what we want to do and get to where we want to get. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but anytime you can get them to come teach you about their product, I think that's phenomenal. And me, that's part of why I love dealing with professional plumbing supply companies. It puts me closer in contact with the manufacturer, and that helps me every time. So S. Buffum says, percolator method for hot water recirculation rather than a pump in a 2-story house. Thoughts? Ever heard of this? If you're talking, hot water rises where you draw the loop and it rises and eventually draws back in from the bottom. Look, we used to have to draw them up like that back whenever I did the plumbing exam. And, my thing is, if you really want good hot water heater that are guaranteed every time, no matter what, man, put in the circulation pump. If it's a house that you're building and you can get in and create a dedicated line for it, that makes it amazing. Or even if you can get in towards the end of the line to get a return line. I know 2-story houses may be a little difficult to do that unless it's on a pier and beam. That may be a possibility. Adam Baum says he's in Grand Rapids. Man, I was there about 1.5 2 years ago up at iTech, and I tell you what, I love it. Which we install Bradford White water heaters. So S. Buffum, I tell you, I'm one of these people. Look, if you're going to install a hot water circulation system, make sure it's one that circulates and does that. I've never done the percolator, not for a hot water circulation. I've drawn one up, but it's been so long, man, I couldn't even tell you right from wrong or good from bad. So you tell me, have you installed them and do they work as well as with a circulating pump or anything? And if anybody else in here knows, tell me what you think. So Roger's making me want to do plumbing once I get my diploma. So Andrew Pop Vogus, how are you? Man, I got to tell you, and I love when I see comments like this because I get a lot of people that reach out to me and they're like, look, I'm in high school and I want to get in the trades when I get out and not go to college. Or, look, I've been in college and I don't like it and I'm not sure what to do. There are so many people in the trades that make a great living. And, we did a video the other day, and I think it's probably 1999, 2000, the last time I remembered making under $100,000 a year. And I mean, you got to think about it. For a plumber, that's not bad. And, I love it when I wish that I would have got in when I was young. If I'd have got in right out of high school, I could retire right now. Actually, I could have already retired. Probably retired 3 or 4 years ago and had a full pension. And man, I'm still in pretty decent health. I started to say I still have, my mind with me, but I think Julie and people around here may disagree. But the cool thing about it is if you're that dedicated, Andrew, and you understand this is a career, it's not just a job. It's not just you get out and get a job and that's it. And if you get fired, okay, no big deal. You'll go get the next one. The thing about it is this is a career, and this is something you're going to get in, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to become professional at it. And look, I'm not saying you can't ever get out. I got out to become a cosmetologist and a massage therapist and a restaurant manager and all kinds of different things along the way, bodyguard and bouncer. I know that's crazy. But here's the thing. The cool thing about it is if you start young, the opportunity you have ahead of you is phenomenal. And I say that because I really think that in the real near future, plumbers are going to be making $100 an hour on a check because supply and demand, there's less people getting into it and more people retiring. And when you create a demand like that, it's going to be profitable for somebody. Taylor Doherty says, craziest customer you've ever had. Man, what makes you think there's any such thing out there as a crazy customer? And trust me, there are. So here's probably one of the worst. I had one call me after we had spent a lot of time and money repiping gas under the house. It was for her rent house, which she lived right next door to. And the funny thing about it was we busted tail to get it done. It was in a historic district, so I had to go to the Dallas Historical Society and the city, and I was back and forth almost all day long. And I kept telling her, man, this is a problem. This is a problem. Look, we're having to jump through hoops. She's like, look, it doesn't matter. I need to get this gas on now. Whatever it takes, just do it. So we were, and we did. Sent her the bill the next day when we got everything done. And she literally calls me that night and says, hey, I'm sitting in front of my computer, and I want you to know I've got your website pulled up, and if you don't reduce my bill, I'm going to give you a bad review. And stuff like that just blows my mind. There are some thieving, crooked people out there, and I don't know if they're crazy or just stupid, but you've got to deal with them. And unfortunately, it is what it is. I've got one I'm dealing with right now. And people just literally blow my mind. Is Neil already out? Neil's going to bed? Neil.
Yeah, he got a Paul Peck got a text from Neil, said, if you're in Roger's stream, mate, let him know I've hit the hay. It's been a long-ass day.
I see. Brother, I completely get it. The cool thing is, I guess the good thing is there's not as many crazy people as you would think. Maybe 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100 are really bad. And it's not that they're crazy. They're just some sorry people out there. They want you to do work. They don't want to pay you. And to me, that's about as sorry as it can get. Sam Tinnick, thank you for the super chat, says, hey, Roger, what are your thoughts on Mega Press? I kind of don't trust a rubber gasket for a gas line. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Mega Press, I love it. I've got, I keep looking down because it used to be right in here. I've got the rigid Pro Press machine, and we bought the Mega Press to do an airline job. And it was 2-inch, 1.5 inches mostly. And I got to tell you, what I saved in labor, I paid for the machine. And if you look at it like that, you look at labor is one of the biggest expenses that plumbing companies deal with. And if I can take one job and make enough money in saving on the labor to pay for the machine, it's worth it. Now, we've never had problems with it leaking. We've never had to go back. We've never had any issues at all like that. So, Sam, I'll tell you, I think it's going to be a lot more popular in the future than it is. Once people learn more how to use it and do things like that. And somebody said, did you just see the building collapse in Houston? I hadn't seen that. So anyway, Sam, look, I think MegaPress is going to be around for a while, and I think it's going to grow and get better. And the reason I say that is it saves labor. And if you can save labor, you can make more profit. And if you can make more profit without having to charge the customer more money or sell them something they don't need, you're going to be doing really, really good. So why is a P-trap important? Can't you just do straight PVC? Well, two different things. A P-trap is not necessarily PVC or copper or anything else. A P-trap is important because that's what keeps the sewer gases from out of the house, meaning every fixture that comes in, that P-trap holds water. And as long as there's water in that trap, sewer gases on this side can't come out like in a lavatory or a toilet. So even if you buy straight PVC, you mean 90 over, 90 up, literally if you do that, you've got nothing to stop that sewer gas from coming up in your house. And you're probably not going to like it because, and it's going to smell like sewer gas. And I mean, think about what it smells like. It's not a good thing. And if you've got that 90, you're constantly going to be getting it in there. So, no, put the P-trap in. You'll end up regretting it if you don't. And I promise you'll regret it for a long time because that sewer gas smell, it's not good. Think about just climbing down the sewer. Go open a manhole and just stick your head down in there and breathe. And think about it. Go up to the top of the house and you'll suck your next breath of air through that vent pipe. It's going to be bad. Matter of fact, it's going to be real bad.
Just looked up that Houston news. The building itself didn't collapse. A stairwell collapsed. And there's been 3 reported fatalities and 1 person transported to a hospital. Looks like they're currently investigating how the stairwell collapsed.
Wow.
That was in Houston today.
Man, I hate to hear that. Julia and I actually have a business down in Houston that we're working. So we're kind of back and forth between Houston or we used to be. What do you mean nobody noticed that mustache, really? So I don't know if y'all have seen this yet or not, but this has got to be the coolest thing I think we've done. And it's funny because if you line it up just right and you look at my lips, it's like they're moving. And literally, I had a lady, I went to a window down in Austin the other day and went up and ordered tacos. And she looks at me and she's laughing. She says, I keep waiting for your lips to move and they're not. And she says, I feel like you're like a ventriloquist or something. So anyway, this is pretty cool. We are going to do a couple of different things on this. So number one, if y'all see it on Teespring under our merch and it's upside down, I'm wanting to literally do it upside down because there's no white line down here. So if you wore it upside down, literally, you would not have the white line here. Okay, look here. We got Sean Strong in here. Look at this. So if you wore it upside down, you wouldn't have the white line. So we're thinking about sending the picture upside down. Will's going to contact them to see if it's possible to get them to put the picture on upside down. So I just want to know, what do y'all think of the mask? Because this is funny. Every time we wear it in, and I wore this all weekend, last weekend in Austin. And we got so many comments, so many compliments from people like, hey, this is just crazy. And anyway, we've had fun. We've enjoyed it. And man, this was a great idea Will had. So that is fantastic. The Sandman says, everyone leave a like for our boy Roger. I love that. Look, if y'all do like what we're doing, share it with somebody you think may enjoy it. Share it with somebody you think might be able to use the information. But yeah, definitely like it, comment, man, let us know what's going on. Somebody put Ryder Wakefield. Is that what my mask is all about? So, you got to love when Sean's in here. Do it.
Said I had one up, but I think I sent one as you exited the comment, so it went away.
Oh, okay.
There it is now.
Ruben Datling, and I like this. What does the first year of a plumbing apprenticeship look like? And number one, it depends on where you're at. It depends on if you're open shop or if you're union. It depends on if you're doing service or you're doing construction, even residential or commercial. But here's what I'll tell you. The very first year is you're going to be learning. You know nothing, and you need to remember that. And I mean it because literally every apprentice comes in, and after a month or two, they think, man, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm doing. And, man, they really don't. And here's what I would tell you. As a first-year apprentice, no matter where you're coming in from, what you're coming into, understand that first year you're there to learn. And when a plumber, when a journeyman, when a foreman, a superintendent, when anybody tries teaching you the trade, make sure you take the time to learn. Make sure you take the time to listen, and make sure that you remember it. Meaning, don't ask your journeyman how to do something today and then come in tomorrow and have to ask him again. Now, in some companies, we know companies out west, for the first 3 to 6 months, that they put you on a shovel, and they say, hey, man, look, you're going to dig. You're going to dig up two-way cleanouts. You're going to dig up valve boxes. You may even dig a gas line relay. I'm not sure, but you're going to use a lot of different shovels, and you may be cleaning the vans. You're going to be doing the grunt work. But I'll tell you this, if you give it 110%, people are going to love your attitude. They're going to love your work ethic, and you're going to end up sticking around and getting to learn plumbing. So, Ruben, what I'll tell you is, look, give it your all. Understand the first year is going to be the worst, and you're going to have the opportunity to learn. I remember when Will went off to college, he thought it was great. He was going to be able to tell people he was proficient at jackhammer. And God, I don't know, Will, do you still put that on your resume anymore or no?
No, but I have night terrors about it.
Yeah, Will knew after that first summer with me he was not going to be a plumber when he grew up, no matter what. So it's really pretty cool. The neat thing about it is, look, if you'll get in and try to learn, come in with the attitude of you want to learn. And no matter where you are in your career, I tell every apprentice, every plumber, every foreman, journeyman, master, superintendent, it doesn't matter. Never stop learning. Because if you'll keep learning, you still have the opportunity to grow. And I really think that'll help you out a lot. So, trade school. I'm a veteran, so GI Bill covers the cost. Is this smarter compared to apprenticeship? Here's the deal. The only time I've ever had to deal with an apprentice on the GI Bill was through the union. So it was an apprenticeship because, you get a job in the union or you go to work or join the union and go to work through them. The cool thing about it is the GI Bill can help supplement your income, and I love that. But it's a trade school. You're going to go to school 2 nights a week. You're going to work 40 hours a day, maybe even more, maybe overtime if it'll fit with the schedule. So there's a lot of different opportunity there. But the one thing I'll tell you is, man, you've got it made. The GI Bill is going to help pay you extra money while you learn. I think that's phenomenal. And I would say, depending on where you're at, depending on what kind of plumber you want to be, If y'all have not done my free mini course yet and you're wondering, what do I mean by what kind of plumber? I ask people if they want to be a residential plumber or commercial, service or new construction, union or non-union. There's a lot of questions and a lot of answers, but man, I try to help everybody out because I've done all that. So I understand it. So I think it's pretty cool. And hopefully it'll give you the information to find out what you want to be. But if you want to do commercial, you want to do new construction, the union may be the best thing for you, and they can help you set up your GI Bill to make it all work. So that could be good. So it'd either be that or directly to trade school. So, yeah, Paul Peck did not get flushed since last week's show. Back again this week. I love that. If y'all have not gone over to Paul Peck Drywall Tube, and there he is on the screen right there, if you hadn't clicked over to his channel and looked at what he does, he teaches people to do sheetrock and drywall and tape and bed and make repairs. And we're plumbers, so we mess that stuff up a lot. So what I would say is go over to Paul Peck, subscribe, watch what he does, see what he does, because he literally, man, number one, his channel's amazing, but it is so cool because, I met him in Los Angeles, and it's really pretty cool. And Paul, I need to call you because actually what I did earlier today, is I had to go record a video session for a YouTube conference, and I thought it was pretty cool. But anyway, thoroughly enjoyed it. So anyway, you're right. You didn't get flushed. Thank you for coming back. And guys, if you have not jumped over to Paul Peck Drywall Tube, if you haven't gone over to the Urban Explorer, or actually Urban Explorer, got some great people, Neil that we were talking about earlier over there, and man, the videos he's making are killer. Pretty cool. And today I actually got to see Sydney Diazon. I'm close.
Yeah, I don't know his last name yet.
Got to see Laurent Segev and got to see Scott Simpson this morning. So actually really pretty cool. Christopher Heron says, when repairing ABS, should I just use a transition to add PVC or should I just stick with ABS? And if so, is a particular glue I need? Number one, there is a particular glue, and you don't glue PVC and ABS together unless you're using transition glue. So I would probably try to put in PVC just because I think it's a little more solid. We literally had to cut out some ABS the other day that a Dingleberry plumber had poured concrete down into the lead bins and in the two-way cleanouts. So there was definitely a problem there. The thing is, this is literally in the Dallas area, the second time I've seen ABS installed. And in 40 years plumbing, that's about it. So I don't know. There may be people that can tell you why ABS is better. I'm from Texas. I'm from down south. All we use is PVC now. We make repairs or maybe big commercial jobs with cast iron, but that's about it. So Christopher, what I'd tell you is, figure out what everybody around you is using, why they're using it. ABS maybe what's popular in your area. Where are you at? Just out of curiosity. Sorry. I went and grabbed a late lunch, so I grabbed me a big iced tea, and man, I love my iced tea. Miller Twice says, my first night of plumbing school is tonight in Newcastle, Delaware. Well, brother, welcome to the trade. I really hope you enjoy it. Are you in the union out there? If so, make sure you tell every apprentice in there that they need to subscribe to my channel. It's funny. It really is funny. I'm kind of joking about that they need to subscribe. That'd be nice. I have a lot of apprentices that reach out to me across the country and say that their instructor has them watch my videos either every night or every week or, whatever the case is. And it's really cool. I got a message last week, I believe, about a company over in India or Africa that they watch my videos every morning before they start work. So I thought that was really, really cool and pretty neat. So Miller Twice, I'll tell you, number one, good luck with it. I really do. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that you get as much out of it as I did, meaning, look, in 40 years, this has been a great career for me, and I really, really love it. So good luck. And man, jump in next week and let us know how did it go. And are you actually working in the trade right now since you're already starting an apprentice training program? It says, Roger, what made you want to get into plumbing industry? Shout out to Wisconsin. You know what? And number one, I've been to Wisconsin a couple of times. Flew in the mill. I'll tell you a cool story. Everybody can listen for just a moment. Grozbowski, Ty Grozbowski. How are you, sir? So here's what I did. I actually flew up to Milwaukee. I was driving up to Fond du Lac, and I was going up there to spend a day with Ahern Mechanical. And from there, I was going to drive back down to Milwaukee, I think, and over to Chicago, and maybe just straight over. I woke up in Fond du Lac, and it was like 0 degrees or maybe even -2 degrees. So I went out, started up my car, drove it up under the awning, went inside to grab my bag and check out. And when I went inside, the news was still on, and I heard it say, it's going to be colder tonight, and there will be 12 inches of ground on the snow, or 12 inches of snow on the ground. So literally, I went back to my car, got everything thrown in, drove up to Ahern, went and did the mentorship program I was up there doing that day, called my office at 8 o'clock here in Dallas and said, look, there's 12 inches of snow on the ground tonight. I'm not driving or going anywhere. So y'all either get me out of here today or I'm going to be here for a week and you're going to pay me. Needless to say that they got me on a plane. Unfortunately, they flew me to Denver. And when we hit ground in Denver, all you could see were snow piles on each side of the runway. It was kind of crazy, but man, it was fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. First time I've ever got to go up there, and it was cold. But man, it was pretty cool country, pretty neat. The only other thing I've done that far north is go up to Michigan a couple of times. A lot of fun up there too. So Ty, man, I appreciate you being in here. Thank you. And man, it is a big shout out up there. It's kind of cold. So what made me get into the plumbing industry? I was managing a restaurant, and I quit school at 16. And I had one of my best friends working with me. And literally, we're working late one night, and it was slow. So we were talking. He said, so are you going to do this forever? And I looked at him. I'm like, man, I'm 16 years old. I'm managing a restaurant. Life is good. And he looked at me and said, so what happens if you get fired or laid off? And I never thought about it that way. But he looked at me and he said, so who is going to hire a 16-year-old restaurant manager? Well, I was smart enough to know probably nobody. So there shortly after, I either got fired or quit, whatever it was. And I called one of his brothers and said, hey, look, I want to get into plumbing. Now, this is what I made that free mini course we talk about all the time for. I did not know there were different types of plumbing. I didn't know about commercial and residential service and new construction. I just knew I was getting a job as a plumber. So, man, I hope that answers it for you. I love it. I mean, even then, I loved it so much that I knew you had to get a plumbing license, or to get a plumbing license, you needed to graduate. And I wanted to graduate, and I was dating a girl that said, hey, you're going to have to. So I went back and graduated with my class. Luckily, I had to take an extra class, but I was still able to graduate on time with my original senior class and got right back into plumbing. So, man, I loved it. Joseph Lalibert, how are you, sir? Appreciate the super chat. It says, I heard through the rumor mill that your mustache challenged Chuck Norris's mustache, and it was a draw. FYI, I love your show. Man, you know what? I would never challenge Chuck to anything. But I think I do have a pretty cool stash. His would probably whoop mine, though. I mean, just his is lean and fit, and mine's just kind of old and fat, laid back. I don't know. I used to love Chuck Norris, though. It's funny. My favorite things Chuck Norris used to do were when he was in the movies with Bruce Lee. And anybody watches old school Chuck Norris knows what I'm talking about. But some of those old movies with Bruce Lee were fantastic. and Chuck was just a whooping bag. But he learned a lot from him, so that's actually pretty cool. And I saw something there I was going to say something to a while ago. Yeah, Julie put the link up to the mini course. If y'all haven't seen it, guys, it's worth just going in and checking out and just seeing what I'm talking about. And the reason being, that is something that if you ever hear somebody talking about wanting to get into plumbing, or somebody that's like, hey, look, I hate college and I don't know what to do. I've had people send me messages and say, hey, look, I went through your mini course and decided I'm not going back to the university. I want to be a plumber or even another tradesperson. So everything that I talk about in my mini course, you could change plumber to electrician, HVAC, roofer, whatever. The trades are looking for people, and there's so many people getting out of the trades because they're getting older and things like that, and they're not getting into it right now because of everything going on with COVID and just everything with counselors pushing them towards college all the time, that literally 4 or 5 years from now, plumbers are going to be making a fortune. So pretty cool. So Jacob says, I found your channel a couple of months ago. Now I'm obsessed with plumbing videos. Man, I love it. I hope they're all mine. And I'm joking. There's a lot of other good plumbers out there. Just most of them aren't making good videos. Here's the deal. Number one, I'm glad. And it's funny because I laugh when I see messages like this because, I mean, literally, we'll get messages, and you can go look at some of our YouTube videos. Matter of fact, look at all of them about 5 times each. You know, between now and Christmas, that'd just be wonderful. The funny thing is, we'll get messages and say, oh my gosh, I have no idea why YouTube recommended a plumbing video to me. But ever since I started watching it, I watch them till 2 or 3 in the morning every night. And man, it's just kind of funny. So Jacob, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I'm glad you watch. I got a cool message the other day, and man, I wish there was some way to show y'all the video of it. But literally, this guy says, hey, look, you know, my son found your YouTube videos. He's like 5 years old. And he says, my son has to watch your videos every night before he goes to sleep. So literally, the kid will brush his teeth, say his prayers, take his vitamins, go in there and turn on my videos and lay there and watch them till he can't stay awake. And I just thought that was so funny and so cool that, man, I every time I see comments like that, I love it. So, guys, I really do appreciate it. So, Moa Asplin, thank you for the super chat. Says, I never thought I would enjoy someone talking about plumbing. You proved me wrong. I adore you and your mustache. Hugs from Sweden. Man, number one, thank you. And I love that we do. We got a lot of viewers from around the world. So, you know, if you are over in Sweden, you know, share this out with people you may think enjoys it. And the reason I say that is you never know when somebody is either in a career they hate, they're doing something they don't like, their parents are pushing them to go to college, whatever it is. And Moa, man, I just want to say thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And I love it that people come in and watch our videos and are like, look, it was educational. It was entertaining. We had fun to it and we kept watching. And man, I get those all the time. So it's actually a pretty cool deal. I saw somebody say bye to Sean. Did Sean jump out?
Yeah, he jumped out. He's on the job.
You know, that's a good thing. Sean, go to work, brother. The Skippy, brother, thank you again for the super chat. I used to be a licensed electrician, and a lot of people tried to handyman it. When I got in to fix it, I had to fix it up to code. Is it the same for plumbers? Yes, it is. And we talk about that all the time. You know, the funny thing is, and it's not funny, we have to compete with handymen and, you know, people that drive a white truck that says plumber, Plummer, on the side all day long. We have to compete with people that their estimate is written on the back of a paper towel. And it's just, you know, you can't compare apples to grapefruits. They're not the same. And it blows my mind when people do that. Or they'll say, here's one of my worst. I had a real estate agent from a reputable real estate brokerage here in Dallas. Call and send me a message and says, hey, look, I'm really upset. Your plumber came out and quoted a price of this much to do this job. I found a plumber that did it for $65. I said, okay. I said, number one, that plumber's going out of business because I know what it costs to do this. Number two, I want you to send me the estimate or the invoice that you paid, and I want to make sure that he's a real plumber and a real plumbing company. She says, oh, he is. So, okay, then send it to me. Number one, he's a freaking apprentice. He was dumb enough to put his name and license number on the invoice. And guys, I just send stuff like that down to Austin. Hey, Lisa, here's another dumb one. Out selling, which is against the law, selling plumbing without the right license. So the Skippy, look, I see it. It happens. I deal with it the way I do. Other people deal with it the way they do. My thing is, man, you got to explain to people and sell the value of why you're going to be more and why it's important that they understand that. Because the ones that don't or don't care, they're normally the ones that call back later and they're pissed off because you didn't explain to them that he didn't have a license and their work's not going to be insured. And if anything happens and their house burns down, it's their fault, not his. It's kind of crazy. So Nate, okay, thank you for the super chat. I live in the UK. How would I go about working in Texas? I'm already a fully qualified, I'm assuming, plumber. Here's what I would tell you. Contact the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners. You could even contact me, and I could help set that up. Where are you wanting to move to in Texas, and how much experience do you have in the UK? I've got a guy actually in Austin today. He's probably finished now, taking his test, and he's from North Carolina. So he had to go through the exact same steps. You contact the Texas State Board. You get them the documentation that shows that you have the experience that you say you have. And as long as here in Texas, you've got to have 8,000 hours to do your journeyman exam, 4,000 to do your tradesman. And as long as you've got that many hours and you can document it from a plumbing company, man, they're pretty good about saying, look, we'll give you a temporary license when you get here to work under a plumbing company like myself. And then what we'll do is we will set up a test date within 6 months. And if you come down and pass your test, you're a journeyman. So they'll give you time to come over here and work and earn money and help you do the things to do to get towards that exam. And to me, I think that's great. I think it really helps a lot because the cool thing about it is it's not like you just have to come over here and start over. And if you can document those hours and show that you work for a legitimate plumbing company, it's great. And we helped a guy come over from Iraq and do the same thing. So, it's all in how you do it. And I see Julie put the link in there. I like that very much. That will get you over there to where you can at least talk to them and figure it out. Adam Baum says, number one, thank you for the super chat. Worst advice ever, listening to a high school counselor. Amen. And I got to tell you, it's funny because Julie and I like going to the career days, and it's really neat because there's a high school here in Garland that I'm going to call him the trades teacher because he's teaching plumbing and HVAC. And I thought it was great. He wanted to come by and talk to me. He says, look, I'm not a plumber. So I really want help in knowing what I need to teach the people and help them. The cool thing about it is he wanted to learn not what the book wanted him to teach people, but what would be better to teach them to help them get jobs. And I thought that was so cool. So Julie and I love helping teachers. So we got a call from one of the big high school districts here, one of the higher end high schools, and we go to it and we're there for career day. And we probably had 2 or 3 people stop by the booth the entire night. Of course, everybody else is like, hey, we're going to college. We don't need plumbing. We're going to college. The counselors come up and talk to us and are like, oh my God, I wish every student here would come by just to see the opportunity. And then when I talked to them, remember, I was in the union at the time. So when I talked to them, and there were 3 female counselors, We're talking to them, and I said, hey, look, right now, somebody can walk into the union, start out at, I think it was $15.50 an hour. And in 2 years, or in 5 years, they're going to be making $30 to $32 an hour. And you get overtime, and you get a pension, and your insurance is paid. A lot of great benefits there. Blew their mind. They're like, oh my God, I want to quit. I want to go be a teacher. I want to go be a plumber. Said they would actually make more money than me when they turn out. And then I explained that in 5 years, that would actually probably be, instead of 30 an hour, be probably about 34, 35 an hour. And they're like, okay, this is something I wish I would have done. So anyway, great deal there. But yeah, worst advice ever, man, you may be right, because high school counselors direct so many people to college that really don't need to go to college. And it's funny because when I come in and talk to them and say, hey, what about plumbing? Do you know that you can start earning money the day you get out of high school? You can get in the union or just go become a helper with somebody else. A lot of different things you can do. But, man, what an opportunity. So that could be the worst advice ever. You may be right. Christine says, why does my water heater sound like a ticking time bomb? It ticks every 2 or 3 minutes, just installed in June. Christine, it's thermal expansion. There's nothing to be wrong with, nothing to be worried about. We've actually got a video that we did about water heaters and water heater noises and noises that they make and why they make them. So there's a lot of different noises that they can make. And I will tell you this, normally it's not a problem. You got to think about it. This is metal that when it gets hot, it expands. When it gets cold, it contracts. So it is really, really good that you at least hear it and you know it and you understand it. So I love that. A lot of people don't even pay attention to their water heaters. Now, Christine, I will ask you this. Do you know how to flush it? Do you know how often you need to flush it and do things like that? Because the cool thing about it is if you'll do that, you can literally extend the life of your water heater out, God, sometimes up to double what they're built for. And just by doing that, it's great. Rob Myron says, what I like about you, Roger, is that you hold back. You have humility, and that's a rare asset. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't know where the filter is, and there's times that Julie tells me you have no filter at all. So, Rob, that's pretty good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, Christine, put a comment back in there, and if I don't catch it, maybe we'll see it. Do you know how to flush your water heater? Is that something that you do yourself, or is it something you'd have to have a plumber come back and do? Because you said you just had it installed, and I love it because, if you teach people when they first get that water heater installed as to what they can do to make it last longer and flushing it, changing out the anode rod, things like that, a lot of good things that you can do. As for the ticking, though, I wouldn't worry about it. I think you're good. RG Tutorials says, hey, Mr. Wakefield, I'm currently a sophomore in high school in the plumbing trade. And I was just wondering if the trade is anything like the shop. Like, do you have to hand cut pipes and stuff? Thanks. You don't always have to. I will tell you this. And look, sometimes I'm a pain. Sometimes I'm a pain to work for, and I understand it. I had 3 apprentices that were cutting Unistrut for me one day. And we came back from lunch, and they had lost the Sawzall. Actually, they lost the Portaband. And, that's a $300 tool. So, they'll start looking around like, well, hey, you need to get another one out here. It's like, wait a minute, y'all got plumber bags, right? I said, yeah. I said, I believe y'all got a hacksaw in there. And they said, yeah. So then y'all need to just keep cutting this Unistrut the rest of the day with your hacksaw. And they were pissed. But I promise you, those 3 guys never lost another tool on my job. And it may be a bad way to do it, but look, I needed the Unistrut cut. They had a tool to do it. They weren't happy about doing it by hand. And I promise you, come next time for them to roll them tools up, they knew exactly where every tool was. And they also knew not to go to lunch and leave their tools out because somebody would pick it up. It's not quite like that. I mean, you're going to cut pipe, but you're going to do so many other things. It's like I told somebody earlier, when you get in the trade your first year, you're liable to dig a lot of ditches, but you're not going to do it forever. And if you get in and you take pride in digging that ditch and you try to do it right, and you try to do it perfect, the plumbers that you work with are going to be like, hey, look, you're good. And they want to teach you plumbing because they want to teach you how to do it right, how to do it better than most others. But, man, they know that if you take pride in your work like that, you're going to be a good journeyman. And one day that's going to be good for them. Justin H. says, can you explain the lead riser you used on the toilet on your last video? Absolutely. So, Justin, and, I asked about it because normally I'll stub up PVC and do a PVC flange. But my service manager actually said, hey, look, Roger, I prefer the brass flange. It doesn't rust. It doesn't break. You don't have problems with it later. And when you pour that concrete back in, you can set anchors in it, and it's never going to move. So there were so many cool things about it. I said, you know what, man, I'm good with it. This is my plumbing company, so I get to say, hey, look, I really want us to do these things. But when one of the plumbers comes up and says, hey, man, what about this? I really like this. And I look at it and think about it. It's like, okay, I see the benefits in that. I'm good with that. I'm not up to changing. I want a good reason why. And you know what? It made perfect sense. I love brass flanges. When you set a toilet on a brass flange and you do it right and you anchor it, the brass flange is never rotting. Now the little piece of steel on the PVC flange may, but the brass one's not going to. So there's a lot of different opportunities out there for us to learn, not really different ways to do things, because look, I knew the way. It's just when he explained why he liked it better, I said, you know what? I'm good with that. Had no problem at all with it. JD, thank you for the super chat. Should I flush a hot water heater? Okay, there are so many plumbers that are going to bust y'all for that. And last time I didn't say it for Christine. Plumbers will say, look, it's just a water heater. You don't heat already hot water. Well, to be honest, yeah, you do. Because if it's on a return system, or number one, it doesn't always cool all the way down to cold water before it heats up again. So yeah, really, you are heating hot water too. Anyway, I just want to point that out because a lot of plumbers will say, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not a hot water heater. Yeah, it is. Anyway, should I flush a hot water heater that came with a house I purchased or just buy new? How do I flush a hot water heater in a basement? Number one, if you don't know if it's been flushed recently, I probably wouldn't. And I say that because if this water heater is over 4 years old and it's never been flushed, I probably wouldn't flush it because remember, the anode rod in there, the sacrificial anode rod, literally it gives up itself to help seal up cracks, nicks, microscopic holes, anything at all on the inside tank of the water heater. And if you flush it, you're liable to pull some of that back out or loosen it up. So you could literally, if it's over 4 or 5 years old, you could literally cause a water heater to start leaking. So I always tell people, look, if it's never been done or you're not sure if it's been done, don't do it. The first thing I would ask you, JD, is how old is the water heater? And is it something that if you're thinking about getting a new water heater anyway, you might just go ahead and do it. But if not, JD, man, some tough questions to answer. My first question would be, how old is it? And have they flushed this water heater on a normal basis? And if you're not sure, I wouldn't. I'd want to know that it's right. Lol MCC Master 963 there says, your mask with your mustache is the mask I wear daily. Man, I love that. I don't know if you saw it a while ago. We actually had one on here. So So Lowell, I'll ask you this. And then I messed one of mine up because I tried stretching that out earlier so it didn't pull on my ears so bad. And I broke it down here on the bottom. So here's the deal. We're talking about making a couple of different ones. Talking about making one where I do my YouTube face where, my mouth is open. I'm about making another one where my tongue's sticking out. I saw the coolest one in Austin 2 weeks ago, or not this last weekend, but the weekend before. And it was literally a guy wearing one with a dog's mouth on it. I mean, the dog's tongue sticking out down to here. And I just thought it was hilarious. But here's what I'm thinking about doing. And I want y'all to tell me, and I've only got the top chat up. It's not the live chat. So I don't know how accurate or current I am. But I'm thinking about, I talked to Will about it the other day about printing it upside down. Because if you do it upside down, and Lowell MC, I'm going to really ask you, I don't have the white line here. So it's one here. Thank you, sir. It's one here that I think it may make it look better like this if you just see my nose there and it doesn't have that white line across, right there. So guys, tell me what y'all think. And if we did something like that, is that something y'all be interested in? And I see from Juliet Wakefield that Juliet Miranda's in here. That's another one. That is another great, there it is right there. Happy Monday to you. And how are you in New Orleans now that, hurricane season is here? And just tons of rain. Because we love it down there. But that's another channel. If y'all have not checked out Juliet Miranda, go over and check it out. She talks about bourbon. And Juliet, it's so funny. I thought about you, not this last weekend, but the weekend before. We went down to Austin to the Garrett Brothers Distillery in High, Texas. We bought a bottle of Cowboy Bourbon. We bought a bottle of Laguna Madre. And I say a bottle, we may have bought 3 or 4 of them. But we also bought 2 bottles of single barrel here at home. And man, we bought the Laguna Madre because literally the girl told Julie, says, look, this is like drinking a very high proof Milky Way bar. And Julie loves sweet. So pretty cool. So Adam Bomb says, general rule of thumb for how much Teflon tape for fittings and when not to use, maybe a future video. We've got a video that we did about it. And I don't know that we talked about, and I think we did talk about how much, because people can put too much on. And I have a lot of people that laugh at me because I use Teflon tape first and then pop dope on top of it. So kind of funny. Man, Juliet, we agree. Man, this stuff was wonderful. I mean, literally, if you saw my post that day, it's wonderful. We literally, we're sipping bourbon at 8:00 in the morning because they while you're in line, we were in line for 0.7 of a mile because this was a special release. And guys, I'm telling y'all, if you have not subscribed to Juliet's channel, you need to go over there and subscribe and see what all she talks about. Man, great stories. And she rants about it. You got to love it. But anyway, we were drinking bourbon before 8 in the morning and just had a blast. It was so much fun. Not that we do that on a regular basis, but every now and then in Texas, you can do stuff like that and get by with it. But anyway, back to Adam. We made a video about Teflon tape and how much to use, 3 wraps, 4 wraps. Also depends on how good a quality of Teflon tape you're buying. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but man, you're right. It's a good video. It's a lot of stuff that people need to learn. Kind of wild, but it's a lot of fun. Look, we love making videos about things like that. How much Teflon tape do you need? Do you use Teflon tape and pipe dope? Do you use them both together? And you know what, man, there's just so much information out there. And that's why I tell people, look, never stop learning. And if you can remember that when you get into this, you're gonna learn the rest of your career. You'll do really well because most people aren't. And I talked about this in a podcast I did the other day. Most people, once they get their license, they think that's it, I'm done. I'm a journeyman. I've reached the end of the line. It's great. I've got a great career ahead of me. And that's where they stop. And it's like, no, man, keep learning. You can always grow, do better, and bring more value to the people that you work for. Ty Kingsbury says, I'm torn between plumbing and HVAC or electrician. There's nothing to be torn there. If you're good looking and smart and you smell good, you probably want to be a plumber. If you married a very close relative, you probably want to become an HVAC technician. And if you can't read, write, or spell your own name, probably an electrician. So, and that's about the best way to define it. I don't see any problems with that. It's probably pretty accurate. I'm joking. Look, here's the deal. The neat thing about it is, man, the trades are great to get into, all of them. Those of y'all that don't know, and how many people got here right now?
I'm showing 163.
163. So we should have 163 new subscribers too. Y'all need to jump over to The Trade Talks. And Will, I don't know if you can put a link in there to it. We started a new YouTube channel. And believe it or not, this is funny because we've already got like 120, 30 subscribers, something like that. And we hadn't even put up a video yet. But Tom, I'm telling this to you. Really, I'm telling everybody you need to. But here's my thing. We're talking about the trades there. And that's why, look, I joke with electricians and HVAC techs and all that. But the thing that I tell you is over there, we talk about all the trades and why to get in the trades, why they're good, how to get better at it, how to open your own trade business. And just all of a sudden I lost all screens. It went to the home screen, then came right back. I was like, ooh. So anyway, look, I love all the trades. And you've literally got to ask yourself which one you want to do. Go to the free mini course. But if everybody in here will jump over and subscribe to the Trade Talks, it's really going to be good. And we're going to be doing some things different over there than we are over here. But jump over there and subscribe because we are literally, it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be this kind of deal. It's going to be me interviewing people from across the country in different trade businesses. And it doesn't matter which trade you want to get in, Ty. Go through that free mini course and figure out, do you want to be residential or commercial, service or new construction, union or non-union? Because those questions go to any trade you can get in. So great way to do it. Well, I'll tell you what, it is 4:07. Let's do speed round for a little while.
For how long? The rest of the time?
Give me about, I know that we're behind. I saw you post that. So let's literally, here's what we're going to do.
Just to give you a heads up, we are on page 17 out of 30.
17 of 30. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to do speed round here for a little bit. I am pretty much not even going to switch from camera to camera. I may every now and then, but Will's going to throw up a question. I'm going to answer it. And as soon as I tell him I got it, he'll throw up the next one. That way I can finish answering this one and move to the next. See, this is why we're thinking about doing the membership deal, because that way the people that really want to learn and want to get in here and ask questions and seriously learn things to help them, that's what we're wanting to do that about. So here we go. Is there a way to fix Orangeburg sewer piping? There's not really. You can cut it out. Got it. You can cut it out. You can change it. You're not really going to fix it. You're going to maybe do a spot repair with the right adapters. The best thing to do is just replace the entire thing. Matthew Kinney says, just wondering, Roger, if you ever watched anyone coat the inside of a sewer line, and what would you think of it? I'm done. So, and I think 2 disappeared.
Yeah, just don't send it away.
Just tell you you're done?
I'll just send a new one over.
So, Matthew, here's the deal. I have not seen them do it. I've seen them do it on video. I'm wanting to learn about it. So the CIPP, cure in place plastic, I'm wanting to get into and study and look at and see what we can do. Jacob Baker, thank you for the super chat. Says, I work on large maritime vessels, and one of the trades alongside me is a pipe fitter. They hate being called plumbers, but I don't see many differences. What are some standout differences between them? So a pipe fitter really works big carbon steel pipe. They cut pipe with torches. They cut pipe and get it ready to weld. They face it, use grinders, things like that. As plumbers, we normally use PVC, copper. We solder with a B tank, just an acetylene rig, normally not oxygen acetylene, unless we're trying to braze something really, really big. And as a plumber superintendent, I had pipe fitters, welders, plumbers, HVAC techs, everybody, even electricians, working for me on different jobs. And look, we all hate to be compared to each other, but we all do a lot of the same type work. Bad Spider says, is plumbing in other countries different than in the USA and Texas? It probably is, meaning that, everybody's codes are a little bit different. I had a guy reach out to me today from India and literally says, look, I want to come to work for you. You don't have to pay me. You just have to sponsor my visa. I just want to come over and work and learn plumbing. Reinhard Kozlowski, how are you, sir? Roger, do you do any lead and Okam joints for cast iron pipes? I don't anymore. We used to do that. The last lead and Okam joint I think I did was probably 1982, maybe 1981. 10-inch lead and Okam joint in an elevator shaft for a riser in Dallas. So yes, it's been that long. I've done repairs, but not a lead and Okam joint. Hello, Lady Moore. How are you? You've changed your name, the Elegant Plumber. I love that. So good to see you. Been frustrated. Was told my apprenticeship is not enough to take journeyman test. About to give up on my love of plumbing because I can't get in. Where are you located and how many hours of apprenticeship do you have? And I'll see what I can do to help you out. Luckily for me, guys, I deal with Lisa Hill a lot, talk to her because I'm trying to make the trades better. So, anytime I can help you, reach out to me. I'd like to. $2 from Michael Mosseri. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Did you or any of your apprentices thrown up often? It's funny. I used to have stomach problems, so I would throw up like every day, but not from poop or puke or things you pull out of the sewer, nothing like that. I've literally only throw up because I've been sick, and people say, man, go home, you're sick. It's like, look, I can be at home sick and not get paid, or I can be here and get paid. I'm fine. I can always throw up in the trash can. Justin Carrot says, how long it take you to install a new water heater to a new house? Just wondering. If it's a new one in a new house and there's not an old one there, you should be able to install a water heater in under an hour. You've already got the stub outs there. Shut off the water, cut them loose, put the water heater up, put it in the pan, take your measurements. You can prefab some of your solder joints, your male adapters to go into your unions and into your TMP. Prefab all three of those first, boom, boom, boom. That way they're cooling down while you're putting things up. You can do things to make it go really, really fast. Painful Soup says, have you ever piped fuel lines for a gas station? You know what? I haven't for a gas station, but I have piped LP gas lines. There's a big fireman trainer airplane out at DFW Airport. I piped all the fuel gas piping there. I was the superintendent on that job, and really, I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right. Let me get comfortable here for speed round. Okay. Blighty says, what is the starting rate usually for a plumber? It depends on where you're at. It depends on if you're a union or open shop. Here in Dallas right now, plumbers are starting out anywhere from $12 to $17 an hour. And, man, you can move up. 12 to 17 is a good starting point. Once you get your tradesman, you can go up to 25. Once you get your journeyman, you can go up to 30. Once you get your master, you can go up to 35. A lot of different ways to look at it. Double J double M. How are you today? Or DJ double M. I know I mess that up every time. Good to see you here, brother. Good day. Question: how many fixture units can I use on a 4-inch line that is going horizontal and then going vertical? You've got to go through and look at the chart. I mean, I don't have those numbers memorized, but you've got to figure what your drain fixtures are, what your count is, and go through and multiply it out. And man, it's an easy thing to do if you've got the chart in front of you. We don't do a lot of new construction at all. So I don't even have that stuff memorized anymore. Juhokli says, do you guys only use fittings when brazing copper? Like it seems from watching you and other YouTube plumbers, we mostly use a fitting tool and T-drill in Finland. We mostly use fittings, soldering and brazing. The last time I used a T-drill, it was probably 1986. I was working for a fire protection company down in Austin. Actually, they were out of Dallas. I went and did the guest quarters hotel in Austin, and we used to run the mains up and down the hallway. We'd prefab all the branches, and we would literally go through and pull a T, stick it in, seal floss it, and move to the next one. Riley Kasanet, how are you? New to the channel, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Just started an apprenticeship. I'm not sure if you've been asked this already, so I apologize. If you haven't answered it, what advice would you give an apprentice? Number one, never stop learning, and pay attention when you're there to learn. I've made a lot of videos, Riley, about how to get started, how to grow, how to do good things, and how to do better. What I would tell you is those two things are huge. Never stop learning, and never have to be taught the same thing twice. Meaning, if your journeyman teaches you something one day, when you come back the next day and the week after, make sure you remember it. It's a big deal. I am lopsided. I love that name. Question for Roger. Should I replace the S-trap under my kitchen sink with a P-trap? I have read about S-traps potentially allowing sewer gases into my home. I have a septic tank. Yes, if you can, absolutely. An S-trap has the possibility of siphoning out the water, and that'll make it where you can get sewer gases back in. A P-trap has a vent coming up out of the top of the santee, so it's not going to allow it. Another possibility is take your S-trap and come out of it below with a vent pipe to where you can allow air to get in there or come out from above with a vent so that basically you can keep it from sucking the trap dry. Iraq Vet 09, thank you, sir. Is radon gas a myth? When I was doing new construction plumbing, we always stubbed out a 3-inch PVC vent for radon gas. I don't know why you stub it out for radon gas. We've always stubbed out one full-size line just to make sure that the atmospheric vent, you're getting enough vent in and enough gases out that it doesn't cause any problem, and it also doesn't bounce around and cause it to suck your traps dry inside the house. That can actually happen either way. Matt Bellacat, how are you? Hi there, sir. Why do you not talk about CPVC? Here in North Central Texas, we very seldom use it. The only time that we use CPVC is on the hot water outlet, the TMP, on a water heater. And that is literally about the only time we use CPVC. I have heard of people out in the country using it to run water lines, but that's just something literally we don't use it maybe once a week, once every other week. We don't use it very often at all. Joseph Rodriguez says, my supervisor likes to use flex tape to fix leaks. Will, did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man, we actually just ordered some flex tape. We're going to play with it. I would never use that to fix a leak and charge anybody for that. If I'm going to fix a leak, Joseph, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take things apart. I'm going to do it right and do everything I can just to make sure that it's as good as it was the day it was installed. And I really don't think flex tape is it. Luke the Plumber says, do you talk to any other YouTube plumbers like Stephen Lavemineri? And actually, I don't. It's funny. I text with, oh gosh, what is his name? Kenny Molotov. Me and Kenny Molotov have messaged each other back and forth a few times. I've never talked to Stephen Lavemineri or, the guy over in England. I mean, man, most of them I don't. I do have a lot of YouTube plumbers reach out to me. The Twin Home experts have reached out and asked me about doing some stuff. I'm actually looking at doing a collaboration with Cold Stone Countertops. If y'all have never checked out his channel, Mike Quist has got an amazing channel. He teaches how to recoat countertops a different way. And man, it's a great product. And he wants me to do a video teaching people that are working on their countertop how to pull and reset a kitchen sink. Well, that may be something we might need to do tomorrow. That's one we need to get going pretty quick because that'd be great for him. Lauber Lieva, how are you? Have you ever walked away from a house because the customer is too annoying? You know, I'm not going to say I've ever walked away from a house. Once we've gone out there, we normally do it. I've walked away from houses because the customer wanted me to do it wrong. They wanted me to shortcut it. They didn't want me to do things right. That's about the only reason. Normally, man, if we figure out they're annoying before we take the job, we may not do it. But normally, once we take a job, we really, it's not very often we walk away from it. Claudius Trudy, how are you doing? What goes faster, soldering or brazing, and what's easier? Soldering is definitely faster because it's lower heat. So you don't have to heat the fittings and pipe as long. That's also, I'm going to say it's easier, but you know, whenever I was using the T-drill like we talked about a while ago, whenever I was doing fire protection systems, I was pretty good and fast at brazing. But I mean, we were doing 200 or 300 braze joints a day. And it's really funny because I get a lot of guys get in and they watch my brazing video and they say, you know what, if you worked for me, I'd fire you. Well, it'll be the dumbest thing you ever did, because I used to make 200 or 300 braze joints a day and never have leaks. So those of you that get in here and say, oh, well, your joint's too ugly, you know what? My joints don't leak. You're going to spend all day making yours look pretty. Mine's not going to leak. And like I said, fire me because I'm going to laugh at you down the road. It's just something I'm good at. And it's because I got lots and lots of experience at it. I don't slow down to make every joint in the world beautiful, but I make sure that my joints, man, I try to do everything I can to make them not leak. And that's what I want to teach y'all. Adam T says, I saw a video on Facebook where water line was coming out of a plug socket. What would you do in that situation? Oh, where water was coming. Man, you know, I'm going to try and figure out what it is. Number one, water shouldn't be openly flowing in the wall like that or in the conduit. So there's definitely something to look at and figure out. I would enjoy it because it's a reason to analyze and see what's going on, where's it at, and how in the heck did this happen? Thomas Curl says, how do you balance learning on the job with formal training classes? Really, it's really easy, Thomas. The neat thing is learning on the job, it's hands-on. You're there working. It's not like the plumber's just sitting around trying to teach you things. You are working all day. You're busting your tail. You're getting things done. And you're getting on-the-job training. You're learning how to plumb. The classroom training, they are trying to teach you certain things to build that knowledge. What can you learn? What can you remember number-wise? What can you learn to braze? Can you learn to use these tools? Whatever it is they're teaching. Classrooms are different, and it's not a balance. You're normally learning a couple of different things on those days, and it's a great way to learn because it's not just the same thing over and over again. It's a different learning style every single day. Braden Graham says, what is the best way to go get rich in plumbing? The best way is to be good at it. Eventually, if you want to open your own company, remember that when you start. You don't want to just start and say, okay, I got a job. You want to start and try and learn everything. Why does the journeyman do what he does? Why does the foreman and superintendent do what they do? Why does the owner of the company do what he does? If you're going to get rich at this business, you're going to do it two ways. You're going to work a ton of overtime to where you're just making a lot of hours, or you're going to work for a service company and you're going to become a very good salesman. Now, if one day you want to open your company, I would recommend working for the service company and learning to be a great salesman. The reason being, a residential service plumber can make more money than a commercial superintendent any day of the week. Because if he understands that Every house we walk in probably does have problems. You just got to be able to find it and present it to people without just trying to sell them more work all the time. And to be honest, if you do it right, you're letting them know of a problem that they have and how to fix it. So there's really not a problem. Nick Griffin, do you have to use epoxy hangers for kitchen drains? It goes from the cast to the copper. No, you don't. Kitchen drains, number one, cast to copper. We don't do a lot of cast on new constructions anymore, but mostly everything we use over here is PVC now. We don't have to put hangers under the sinks because literally it hooks right up to it. So that's never been a problem. Guitar 1301, good to see you in here again. Sorry about that, guys. Been a long day. I was up half the night too with a headache. Guitar 1301 says, "Hey Roger, I have a question for you. In your last video, when the previous plumber poured concrete down the lead bins, curious as to why you reinstall lead on the stub. Is that required by code?" No, it's not. And I did talk about that earlier. My service manager loves and prefers the lead riser with the brass flange. And look, I love the brass flanges myself. And I even asked him, I said, "Why'd you do that? Normally I would stub up PVC." He says, "I prefer this over a PVC flange. So I like to do it this way." And we talked about it. Look, it's a great idea. Number one, I love the brass flanges. If you install it right, you anchor it down right, it's going to be there forever. And man, you know what? Why not give somebody something that'll last forever? So when he talked to me about it, I said, "Okay, I got it. Let's do it." And it worked out good. John Leonard says, "Roger, I moved in a mobile home. The water heater is from 96 and has never had the anode rod replaced. I did look, it did look like it's been flushed. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm thinking going PEX. I don't know what kind." Number one, I prefer PEX A, the expansion PEX. I love Uponor. I love the idea of a fitting that continuously tries to shrink back to its original size. That means it's always going to try to hold tight on that fitting. And to me, it's going to be a great thing. The Sticky Fingers 88, or Sticky Fingers, 88. Thank you for the super chat. It says, "Are drain cleaners bad? The only justifications I've heard in videos are you might have a cast iron pipes and it's dangerous. Any other reasons?" Chemicals just normally, they're not good for pipes. That whether they're acidic or caustic or whatever, you get in here to this old pipe that people have just been pouring this stuff in for years, and it's like the bottom of it's rotted out. So I'm not going to tell you what it does to pipe. I've never studied it or gone through and tried to figure out all the different things about it. But what I will tell you is that anytime you go to a house where they're like, "Oh my God, I've been pouring chemicals down it for years and years and years," man, you can see the channel right in the bottom of it. And they may tell you, "Look, this does not hurt pipes." I'm going to tell you as a plumber, when we can show that people have used that for a long time, it can. And the real bad thing about it is if you ever get in to work on one of those and you splash any of that water on your face, in your eyes, on your arms or whatever, man, you got a lot to do to take care of yourself. That can be dangerous, so be very careful. Leticia Hernandez, how are you this morning? This afternoon? Leticia wants to know, would a leak detection system do the same thing as a leak detection service? New homeowner from Oregon. No. A leak detection service is normally a plumber like me coming out. We're going to detect, do you have a leak? A leak detection system, and there's a couple of different ones that I've dealt with and looked at and kind of discussed working with over the years. A leak detection system, literally, it lets you know if your water's moving. It lets you, some of them have remote leak sensors that if they get wet, they're going to tell you, "Hey, I'm behind your toilet and I just got wet, so chances are you have a leak here." They're going to notify your phone. Some of them are really good, and they even have a shut off to where if you get a notification on your phone that there's water behind the washing machine and you're like, "Hey, I'm not home. Nobody should be using the washing machine," and there's water behind it, you can press a button and turn off the power or turn off the water to the house. And to me, Man, that is huge. Victor Koppel, thank you for the super chat. Do you scuba dive under houses a lot? I don't do it a lot, but when it's got to be done, luckily I'm the guy that gets to go. And it's really funny. We had so much fun doing that. I had to go out for a photo shoot. We're building a new website. So if y'all want to go to rogerwakefield.com, I know it's not up yet. Actually, right now, I think it'll link you right back to here to YouTube. But what we've been looking at, we're building a website about our plumbing courses, our coaching, our consulting, our social media training, all the different things that we're doing to help people. And for those of y'all that don't know, I've actually got an entertainment manager now. We're looking at doing some stuff on TV or on some different networks, and man, just great opportunities have come up. But I had my scuba gear with me because we had gone to do a photo shoot. And when Will and I went over there to shoot that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? I've got a great idea for a picture, and it did. It turned out really good. So, man, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cameron Thornton says, I don't know if you ever answered this, but are there any situations where you may want to use the big push to connect drain fittings? Cameron, it's really neat that you asked that because I have not used those yet. And look, I don't necessarily have a problem with push to connect fittings. I have a problem with shark bite because of the way they market them and tell people, look, anybody can do this, just push it together. Well, we've gone back and fixed a ton of leaks. I've had other plumbers reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, we fixed so many leaks because of this. Drains are different. Now, PEX, I don't like PEX, the crimp PEX, because if you don't oversize it, you're creating flow restrictions. These push to connect drain fittings don't because everything's on the outside. Sorry, can't get enough water today, guys. Earl Torcala says, if the two-way cleanout is filled with mud, what do you do? Man, if it's filled with mud, that tells you there's a break in there probably pretty close. What I would try to do is hydrojet the mud out to see if I can get in there and see where it is. I may just tell them we've got to dig these up and replace them. Chances are it could be just the two-way cleanouts, the riser, something like that are broke. But either way, you've got to get in there to where you can figure out what it is and make the repair. Abraham Money says, why can you hear the sound of water running from another room? Well, if the water's above head, meaning if you've got a restroom upstairs and somebody flushes, you can hear that water running. If the water is, if you're in a hotel and it's thin walls, you may just be hearing the water because it's thin walls. There's a lot of different reasons it could be. It literally just looks like it depends on what is the installation like and what are you going to be able to do to figure out what it is. Are we already through, Will?
I'm trying to find another one.
Oh, man, we're doing good. I was fixing to say, look, we're getting caught up a little bit. I love it. And, guys, that's what we like to do this. Look, I know that Will is running through here trying to get to all the questions and get things done. And I know some of y'all get upset and you're like, man, look, I asked a question. I'm trying to answer thoroughly, so I really try to help. But, man, just everything we can do to help, we're trying. That's what's fun about the speed round. It just lets us go through and get rid of a bunch of questions.
And another thing for new people, we always get new people in here. You do not have to donate to get your question answered. But if you do donate, I'll put your question in the front of my list.
Right. And that's the way we do it. We're going to start doing something different here pretty quick. We're going to create basically a form that you fill out to ask your question to. And that way we can make sure that we track those and connect with those people. Anyway, another thing that we're working on, we're always trying to get better. So that's just one that we're working on. Mr. Wakefield, for an outdoor tankless, what would you recommend as a good replacement? I have a ream right now that is 7 years old. Also, how do I get faster hot water throughout the house? Stephen Legion. Steve, here's what I'll tell you is to get faster water throughout the house, you're going to have to put in a circulation system or something. I I don't know if you've got the temperature on the tankless turned all the way up, and if you're calling for the hottest water there. And I say that for a lot of different reasons, but my big thing is you may need a tankless water heater that has more GPM flow. But if you're wanting hot water all the way through the house, to be honest, you're probably going to have to put in a circulation system and just set it for certain times of the day. But you got to remember too, that messes up the whole idea behind a tankless of, look, you don't have to keep the water hot. It calls for it on demand. What I would tell you, what you may want to do is put a ladybug on the shower, turn the hot water on all the way. When the water reaches 95 or 100 degrees, it'll stop. You'll hear it click. That way you don't just have to keep it moving all the time like that. SC says, I'm starting an apprenticeship soon, and I've been watching a lot of drain cleaning videos. When back flushing a drain with a hydrojet, are you at a huge risk of making a mess in the house? Man, anytime you're working on a drain, you're at a risk of making a mess in the house. And it takes lots of practice, lots of skill to learn what you can do, how to do it right, and not make a mess. You take a chance on making a mess just running a sewer machine. So a hydrojetter, think about it, that water's coming backwards. You always want to be careful and protect yourself. Make sure that you've got things covered so if it does try to mess the house up, man, you've got it good. You've done things right. With Chris Carr, how are you? Says, my house was updated with PEX before we moved in, but they did a crummy job. Man, I've heard that one before. Plus, they left the old pipes in place. Should we get the grinder out and get the old ones out? Here's what I would tell you. Number one, the old water lines, there's nothing wrong with them. They used to have water in them. It's not like their old sewer lines that, have funk in them. So what I would tell you is you probably don't have anything to worry about there. If they updated the PEX, I hope they upsized so that you have plenty of flow. That's my biggest problem with PEX is I tell people always upsize it. That way you don't create a flow restriction. And we've had that happen where we've gone into brand new houses and had to do things in order to make it better. And man, it's crazy, but it is what it is. Pactra Productions says, what alternatives would you suggest for an amateur DIYer to practice pipe fitting under running water? Are there any jigs or wood sets encased with their own drainage? Why would you practice pipe fitting underwater or under running water? Most pipe fitters never get wet. They're literally cutting and preparing for a welder above ground. So, man, I'm not sure. Not sure about that one at all. Chris Carr says, I'm a mom to 3 under 9. God bless you. I hope you're surviving. And I hope you're homeschooling and having fun with it. That's kind of crazy. They're all at home now, virtual. But I was thinking about going into plumbing. Is 41 too late? Can I still take care of my family and be a plumber? Man, here's the deal. You can do anything you want to do bad enough. And I say that because, look, 41 is not too old. I had apprentices when I was teaching in the union that were 55 and did well. Can you still take care of your family? I'm not sure what kind of money you've been making or what kind of money you need to make, but I would contact the union, PHCC. First of all, go through my free mini course, find out what kind of plumber you want to be, and go from there because, man, it's kind of crazy. So Victor Koppel says, number one, thank you for the super chat. What's the point of an electric tankless water heater? Why not just use an electric shower faucet at that point? Gas and with tank, I get, but electric tankless. Here's the deal, and here's why, and I explain it to you, Victor. An electric tank is just like electric tank water is just like just like a gas tank. You're keeping that water hot all day long, even if nobody's using it. And the thing you want to remember there is tankless water heaters were designed to literally heat water up as you needed it. And I understand what you're talking about the little Insta-Hots, but a whole house tankless, and look, there's some good ones out there. A whole house tankless literally is just like a whole house gas tankless. It heats the water as you need it. It gives you the hottest water possible depending on what it's rated, but it doesn't heat that water all day long. So I see the difference, but man, I can't tell you what makes one better than the other one. But I will tell you this, I see the value in tankless electric and tankless gas. And if you can afford the installation and the ROI fits, it really can be worth it. So got a $5 super chat from John Leonard. Thank you very much. Thank you for the advice. I love learning. John, man, look, I love doing this. And look, I was up most of the night, so I'm kind of tired, and I know I'm yawning, and I may not be sharp right now, but I tell you what, I do this because it's fun. I love communicating with people that are learning, people that want to learn, people that want to get better, people that maybe want to learn what I did to grow my company once I started it up and realized that marketing companies were ripping me off. I've probably dealt with 10 different marketing companies, and only 2 of them am I like, look, I really love these people and what they're doing. So, I love people that want to learn. So thank you very much. RJJR, are tech schools a scam, or do you hire from them? I don't, but we're looking at joining PHCC because of their training program. I've gone down and actually advised for Texas State Technical College at one point. I think that there are some really good technical schools out there. The thing is, make sure that, like, if you're in Texas, you're going to one that the hours are going to go towards your license. You're not just taking it to say, hey, I learned plumbing, and then you've got to start off doing what you can to get the hours to test. Literally, you want to make sure that you can, anything you're learning, you're getting hours for, because your thing is you need to get a license so you can get out and make money. And to me, that's what it's all about. Toasty Boy says, what should I be doing to prepare for an apprenticeship? Man, number one, you're in a good spot. Start watching the videos that we've done. Remember, I used to be an instructor in the union. So, I've got the free mini course to talk about the different kinds of plumbing that there are. And also the big thing is you want to learn that it's a never ending learning cycle. Man, you're going to learn forever. And getting into the apprentice training program and getting that education is a great way to start. But there's a lot of people that just go learn, open shop, and keep doing good. And Matthew Kenny said, somebody go get that man some more iced tea. Yeah, Julie, if you're in there, my glass is empty. Just saying, little love sure would be nice. The Elegant Plumber says, what happens to the board on May 31st, 2021? Texas Plumber exam. May 31st is about when the 87th legislature should be finished. We're still operating under an executive order from Governor Abbott, and I'm really afraid that, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. And here's why I say that is he has not done the things he's supposed to do, but then again, either has Angela Paxton, anybody that I've reached out to try to get help from, man, there's just not a lot of help. And I don't know if it's just politicians being their plain old politician selves or what, but it's really sad that, if the Texas State Board had just got voted out, they had a list of things that they had to do like every month. Well, this month you got to have this done. This month you got to have this done. This month you got to have this done. And one of the first things on there was to fill the board seats. Well, Governor Abbott's had almost 2 years to fill the board seats, and he still hadn't done it. So, man, can you imagine having a job and know that you had 2 years to do something and you didn't get it done? People should get fired over stuff like that. And I hate to say it, but man, I think we're in a bad spot, but I think it's because the Texas politicians have put us in a bad spot. And man, while I'm talking about this, I will tell you this. I did contact one of my representatives, Angie Chin Button, and man, she called me the day of the election. She says, "Hey, I'm letting you know I'm voting for you. You came and talked to me and explained why this was important. I want you to know I'm voting for you. So any of y'all that are here in North Central Texas and do get to vote or can vote for Angie Chin Button, I'm telling you, I think that was phenomenal. And that's something I'll never forget because we barely won. We barely kept the board. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't benefit us to go under TDLR, but I don't think that we should be forced to by politicians. I think if we're going to go under TDLR, it should be something we want to do as plumbers. And I think plumbers need to get together and make that decision, not a bunch of politicians that don't even do what they're supposed to do.
Before we keep going, I want to say we've got 300 people right now watching and only like 140 likes. So what's up with that, y'all?
Man, that's pretty bad. Have you refreshed or anything? Because I did that, and I don't have my phone here, so I can't even look at it. Man, normally we've got more likes than we do people in here. But that's because everybody who jumps in normally gives us a like. Man.
I guess they don't like you today.
I know. Am I doing is it do you not like the red shirt or what is it? That is funny because normally we do. We get a lot more likes than we do people in here. So man, if y'all like what we're doing, here's what we ask. Just please give us a thumbs up. If you don't like what we're doing, give me a thumbs down. But at least leave me a comment and say, hey, here's why I gave you a thumbs down. The thing is, we love what we're doing. We like to have fun with it. And Joey's right. Angie Chin Button rocks. And she is great for plumbers. The cool thing about her is you can talk to her and say, hey, this is why. And, you know, the bad thing is you can reach out to Angela Paxton or Ken Paxton or somebody, and they won't even return your call. I've actually tried to get in and talk to the governor. I can't even get them to give me a meeting. Now, how bad is that? This is my governor that I voted on, and I can't even get in and talk to him to tell him why it's important that we keep our plumbing license. And then he's going to let somebody like Chris Patty's self make fun of plumbers on the floor. Ethan Krebs says, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Thank y'all very much. But I may get up there if y'all ain't going to give me any likes. Come on, man. I'm trying to do good. Ethan Krebs says, I'm 16. What's the best way to learn before I'm off to college? Well, Ethan, number one, I'd ask you, if you're wanting to learn plumbing, why are you going to college? Or are you going to college to learn plumbing? And there's a lot of people that literally get in, learn plumbing, and go become a mechanical engineer, which is something at one point I wish I'd have done. No, Sticky Fingers 88, they care about one side, the side that's paying them the most, and that's all there is to it. Sorry, I just saw that and had to say it. So, Ethan, here's what I'd tell you is, look, if you're going to college to become a plumber, man, watch these videos that we make all the time. We teach people a lot about plumbing. If you're just wanting to learn to figure out if plumbing is something you'd like to do before you go to college, man, watch the videos again. I really hope that, I don't know, I guess it could be good to learn plumbing and go to college and become an engineer. It may help you out in the long run because you may understand the guys in the field. Carson Howe says, how do I know if plumbing is right for me because I'm stupid? Does your intelligence matter? Look, I'm stupid, and I can still become a plumber. Here's the thing. It's just like anything else. And number one, I really doubt you're stupid. You may say, well, look, I have a learning disability or I don't learn things like other people do, and that's fine. Did you learn to ride a bicycle? Did you learn to tie your shoes? Because plumbing is repetition. You get in and you start doing the same things over and over. And you learn how to rebuild a faucet, how to rebuild a cartridge, how to pull and reset a toilet. It's things that you learn. And then it starts all making sense. So you don't have to be the smartest student there is, but you've got to be willing to try to learn. And if you're willing to try to learn, man, I'm going to tell you, I'd be willing to bet that you can do it. Matthew Kinney says, all the joking aside, was asking about the cove in that you found in the sewer system and text us any new information about that to try to keep my plumber safe.
I think he's talking about that article from
Yeah.
Houston.
You know, I haven't found anything else. You know, and here's what they're saying. They're saying, look, there's no COVID in the sewers, you know, but there is because Houston's tracking where it is. Now they're saying, well, we don't know that it's contagious. You know, I understand that, but we don't know that it's not contagious. And, you know, my thing is, look, if us as plumbers, if we're getting into sewer lines, if we are getting in and putting ourselves at risk, we need to protect ourselves with face masks, with face shields, with mono goggles, with latex gloves, with Tyvek suits if we need to. Whatever we need to do, we need to look out for us, because I'm telling you, the government ain't doing it. The government's not going to say, hey, plumbers, y'all are at risk, so here's what you need to do. So you need to assume you're at risk every time you get into a sewer line and look at it that way every single time. Michael Masseri says, what's the most dangerous thing you have ever done? Whether it was gas or high pressure water. Most dangerous thing I've ever done.
Let's keep it to plumbing.
I know. I was sitting here thinking, man, there are so many different directions I can go here. Michael, probably the most dangerous thing is, and it's not really high pressure water or even gas, because there's always safety involved. You don't work on high pressure water lines without turning it off. You don't work on gas without having it shut down, unless you're just doing a valve switch over or something. And there'll be a lot of people tell you don't even do that. And I agree. I just, sometimes if I'm by myself, I know my limits. One of the most dangerous jobs is probably an LP gas job. I talked about it earlier. There's an airplane out at DFW Airport that they train pilots on, or they train firemen on from around the world, how to put out fires on planes. And man, I got to build it. It was LP gas, so it is all a little bit different. But man, it was so cool. So that's probably one of the coolest. Jose Ramos says, how long have you been making YouTube videos? Well, I'll tell you this. I think it says that my channel was started in 2011 or 2014, which is true. Literally, we did not start making videos for our plumbing company until about 2015, maybe. 2015, 2016. Go back and look at when my first video was. You'll see, because we have not taken any down. And one thing that I'll tell you, though, is that we started making videos to grow on YouTube the end of March and posted the beginning of April 2018. So 2.5 years. And man, it's funny because I want to say this. Number one, thank y'all. Will said number one, there's 300 people in here. Hopefully we have a couple of more likes by now. But the cool thing about it is, thanks to y'all, we're able to do what we do, because we're growing. We're getting more subscribers. We're getting more views. We're getting more people in our lives. And I tell you, if it wasn't for y'all, we would not be doing this. So we started making videos. Y'all started watching and listening and engaging and, commenting and giving us thumbs up and likes and shares and all the things to tell YouTube and tell us somehow that what we're doing is appreciated and liked. So, and man, I normally don't go off on anything like that, but I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate every one of y'all being in here. And it really is a big deal, and it's important. So man, that's why 2.5 years we started doing it. And man, our goal is to get 1% better every time we do something. Hashtag GWAA says, what steps should I take to get my plumbing license? Man, you started with a good one. You've got in here where you can learn something. What I would tell you is literally, and man, I hate to keep saying, but look, I talk about this in a lot of videos. There's different ways you can start. You can become an apprentice, or you can join the union. You can go to PHCC, or you can learn and open shop. There's a lot of different ways to go, and I've made videos to explain it to a lot of people. Go look at those and go check. Man, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but I will tell you this. Look, you've picked a great career to get in, a great trade, And man, stick around and comment and let us know how it works. But I hope that it works for you. Chris Torres says, can you explain the measurements of shutoff valves? And Chris, I'm not sure about what you mean by the measurements, if you mean takeoff, but literally you can measure the overall length, and that's what I'm going to assume. So say you've got a ball valve that's 3 inches long, and you've got a 1 inch makeup, meaning the copper is going to stick in 1 inch on each end. So what you could do is take that total 3 inch valve, subtract 1 inch on this end, subtract 1 inch on this end, and then you know you've got 1 inch in the middle. So when you're cutting your copper, cut that 1 inch out, pull them apart, stick it in, it'll come out perfect. So anyway, I hope that that's what you meant by it, and I got it. And Matt Bellacat says, I refreshed 336 people, 190 likes, and 3 no likes. Now, I know one of the no likes was Will. He does it every time. It's just him and Grayson and Julie. So that's probably who it is. But as for everybody else, I sure do appreciate it. 190 likes and 336 people in here, though. That's crazy. Those numbers are really off. Nightcore Galore. I love that name. Nightcore Galore. Hey, Roger, what did you think of the pictures I sent of the broken soil stack in the 258-bed student Okam?
Nightcore Galore said earlier that they tweeted you and you replied to them. Does that ring a bell?
I'll have to go back and look. Man, I got to tell y'all, and I love it. So, look, I'm not complaining, and I can't always reply to all of them, but we get about 250 pictures or videos a day. And, look, I love it because, man, we scroll through them. When I see one that just literally blows my mind, I'll send it over to Will. And, man, if what you sent was a really good one and we hadn't put it up yet, look, send it again. And I may be like, oh, my God, Will, look, I forgot to send you this. We actually, man, we're getting so many. And I mean, some of these things are amazing. Some of them, it's just like, oh, my gosh, I cannot even believe that. And then again, some of them, look, and I'm going to tell y'all to be honest, you know, if you take a picture of something like right up close and I really can't tell what it is, I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, I kind of see what that is. But, man, what I would do is give me a far back picture and an up close picture on some things, because literally there's some of these, I look at the pictures and, look, I've been plumbing 40 years. I'm like, okay, I can't really tell what they're trying to show me here. I see what this kind of looks like, or I see what this kind of looks like. But, man, anyway, give me some depth to it. And also maybe send me a note and say, hey, just want to let you know this is what all this picture is. And if you put a note in here now, I may remember what it is. But like I said, we're probably trying to go through at least 200 pictures a day. And, man, it's tough. But, God, I'm trying. Calabasas the Otaku Cyan. Man, I hope I got that right. Calabasa, not Calabasas. See, I messed it up in the very beginning. So I have a question. I like to tumble rocks, but I'm not sure it's safe to rinse them in the sink. What's the safest method to rinse them without damaging the plumbing? I use sand to tumble rocks. You know, what you might try doing is rinse them in a 5-gallon bucket out first, meaning, you know, dump your tumblers in the bucket and have some little holes drilled around the bottom. Go out in the backyard or even a front yard, fill it up. And as that washes out, that's going to wash out the sand. Then carry it in to where you can put them in your sink and spray them. You still want to have your basket strainer or something like that in so you don't get any rocks or anything down the drain that could close it up. But at that point, you're going to have most of your sand off. But, man, I'll tell you what, I've seen people do rock tumbling or tumble rocks. Man, that's cool stuff. I got to tell you that's just something. Man, there's some rocks out there that are beautiful. So I think that is really cool. But yeah, definitely don't rinse the sand out in the sink. You could end up clogging up your P-trap, and later you're really going to regret it. Abraham Money again says, how do you know when to replace a water heater? Man, and that's a really good question, because when we go out to do a repair, we've got questions that we ask people. Number one, how long have you lived here? Has the water heater been flushed? Are you planning on living here a long time? Do you ever run out of hot water? How old is your family? Meaning, do you have kids that are going to be older and wanting to take a lot longer showers later or what. So there's a lot of different things that we ask them. But then the big one is, if we're there to make a repair, one thing that I always tell them is, look, if you're going to spend this much money today and replacing the water heater costs this much, it may be worth investing that money in that. And it depends on how a lot of those other questions have been asked. And you know what? Some people are still just going to take the repair. And I always tell them, look, it may last a day, a week, a month, or a year, or 10 years. You never know. But at least they know that I'm not telling them this is going to fix it forever. Shadow Sprite XD says, number one, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Any other material like the 2018 UPC study guide shown in your other video you would recommend? Thanks, and keep up the great content. Yeah, and I don't have it in here, but there's also the 2018 IPC study guide. It's a little bit different. IPC and UPC are very close. Not Core Galore says, yeah, when it no longer heats water. But, here's the deal, too. And this is one thing that I like about Bradford White, because I was down there talking to them about water heaters. And literally, Dustin asked me, he said, so do you always recommend replacing a water heater? I said, no. If it can be fixed, it needs to be fixed, unless there's a reason not to. And that may be age or things like that. But for studying, look, we teach a lot of information on our channel. Those of y'all that have, if this is your first time in this live and you've never been here before, subscribe. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out whenever we release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or whenever we come in here and go live, because you can learn a lot here. Not just from me, man. We get some great plumbers that come in here and talk and discuss things. So it really is. It's pretty cool. What is the best plumber's tape you've used? I've noticed a huge disparity in the cheap stuff from Home Depot versus the $10 roll from Swedge Lock. Monster makes a good roll. Odie, that thick gray, and that's a good one. But remember too, when you're using that, maybe the little thin white stuff that you put 10 wraps around, that thick stuff, you probably only need 3 or 4 wraps. So just make sure you're not putting on way too much pipe dope. Believe it or not, it can actually lead to leaks. So, use it accordingly as to which good or bad you're buying. Pablo says, what do you think about HVAC being the king of all trades? And I gagged. It came up to right here.
Put that one up just to bother you.
I know. I'm sure you did. Look, everybody knows plumber's rule. You can go without AC for a little while. You can go without heat for a little while. You can go without electricity. But if you try to go without going to the bathroom, we won. Next. That was easy. Look, I love all the trades. And, man, I think we all get along great. And to be honest, and I say that, we all give each other a hard time. But at the end of the day, the cool thing about it is, man, the trades are going to be the future for so many people that really want to improve their lives. Because while all these other guys are going to college and not able to get jobs, the guys that go to the trades, you're going to have jobs forever, and you're going to be making bank. And I'm telling you, it's on the way. Nicole Daigle says, have you ever had to tear out a driveway? I have not had to. I've offered that opportunity to customers to do different things. We've tunneled under driveways. We have cut out a section of a driveway just to tunnel across it. And then, like I said, we've tunneled under it. So there's a lot of different things we've done, but I've never torn out an entire driveway. So
tell them the story about whenever I was working for you and we had a tunnel under that driveway. Do you remember the one I'm talking about?
The one over in Frisco at the angle.
Yeah.
We and it's funny because, man, this one is I go back to a lot. Man, we got a job or a call about a clogged up sewer, and I went over and they had ran a line out the side of a house and came out and were cleaning downstairs. So we kept trying to go in, and we go in, and man, we'd get right up under the driveway, and it hit mud and it stopped. So talked to the owner and said, look, we need to dig under and find out where this is broke and tie it back together. Well, my dig crew calls me on Friday and said, hey, Roger, we've dug under here and we can't find the line. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, we've dug the line that you located, but we're like 2 feet past it and we can't tell what it tied on to. I said, well, keep digging. I mean, it's there. So they called me back a little bit later and like, okay, now we've gone like 6 feet past it and it's still not here. Well, we had already ran a camera down the other side, so we knew where the other end was or where it should be. So we said, look, dig down over here and come back this way from it. There was literally a 20-foot section of pipe missing under a driveway. So, Nicole, that's the time that literally we had to tunnel all the way catty corner from the top right side of one side down to the bottom left of the other. And it's funny because Monday morning, which I repaired all this Saturday, called the inspector Monday morning and said, hey, can you meet me over at a homeowner's house? And he said, man, I'd like to. I'm headed to a meeting, so I can't do it. So, okay. And so I just want to let you know, you're going to have a customer pretty pissed off that she has 20 feet of sewer pipe missing under her house, yet y'all green tagged her inspection, and now she wants to know why she's got raw sewage under her house for the last 15 years. He said, what's the address? And I told him, he said, I'll meet you there. He was there before I could get there. Anyway, the city went back, found out who the builder was, who the plumbing company was. The builder ended up paying for the repair. That's a bad deal. But, we didn't pull out the driveway. We just tunneled under it. So anyway, Nicole, that's the summer Will decided he was going to college. He was not going to be a plumber. And now that I remember that job, I remember why. It was kind of funky down there. Nick Sanchez says, I'm an apprentice for residential slab leak repairs, etc. And I'm curious, could I move to commercial or construction after my journeyman? Or would that require me to restart as an apprentice in the field? Number one, Nick, and go check out my free mini course because, number one, you never have to start. Once you get your plumbing license, you're a licensed plumber. But to me, that's why the free mini course that we do is so important because, look, when I started plumbing, and if y'all were here a couple of weeks ago, and I want y'all to know, 2 weeks ago, we had 150,000 subscribers because we did our silver play button party. So 152 weeks ago, 163 today. So in 14 days, 13,000 subscribers. So again, guys, thank y'all so much for everything y'all are doing. We really do appreciate it. But the big thing is, I had all these plumbers from other companies, and these are some of the best plumbers, I think, in Dallas. And literally one of the questions I asked each one of them, when you got into plumbing, did you know what kind of plumber you wanted to be? Did you know if you want to do commercial or residential or service or new construction? And they all started laughing. They're like, no, man, we just knew we were getting into plumbing. And guys, that's why, to me, that is probably one of the most important things I've done is put out that mini course. Because it doesn't matter if you want to be a plumber, an electrician, a roofer, an HVAC tech. And no, they do not rule the trades. Plumbers do. But here's the thing. You can change the word plumbing in any one of those conversations. If you're an HVAC tech, do you want to be commercial, residential, service, or new construction? Guys, those are things that most plumbers didn't even know were an option or opportunity when we got into it. So I will tell you this. Once you get your license, you can go to another part. And if you've been doing service, you're going to understand enough about putting it in. You're going to be okay. You may have to learn some things, and you may tell them that, look, I've been doing service, but I really want to get into new construction. The opportunities will be there. Hugo Morin says, I may have a little question. Sorry if it's not pertinent, but is French plumbing is different from American plumbing? I mean, is there special things about American plumbing that make them unique? Hugo, and look, this is a great question because I really don't think there is. Number one, I mean, sewer gases do what sewer gases do. Water drains downhill. Now, there may be different materials. There may be different joining techniques. There may be a lot of things different that y'all are doing that we're not doing yet or that we're doing that y'all aren't doing yet. My thing is, and look, I've worked with some plumbers from South Africa, from the UK. I've worked with some different plumbers in my time. Either they had to learn what code we were building by and how we were doing it. To be honest, you can probably get online. I know that we've got a link to the UPC study guide. Do y'all build by the UPC or the IPC study guides or code books? And the reason I ask is, look, that's what we build by. So if it is something that you're already working with, you're going to understand it very well. We may use PVC where you use ABS. You may use push-together fittings where we're brazing or using PEX or something else. Anyway, a lot of different ways, and I'm done with that one, Will. A lot of different ways. I'm assuming we're getting caught up, so he's slowing down on his questions. So we did good there. It is 10 after 5. How many pages in are we? We're probably through with, will we ever get caught up on questions?
I don't know if we'll ever get caught up, but we're starting to get to a lot of, chat between each other and comments and things like that. So
cool. No, I like that. So here's the thing is, guys, you can still ask some questions, but like if we don't get to them, please don't get upset. And Marinos number 9 says, where can I ask a question? Right here. You're in the spot, just do it. We do need to create that form. That way we've got that, because one good thing about the form is if there's some questions that we can't get to, we can always come back and try to get to those later or put them in a video or something like that. Maya Studio says, what will happen if I flush a pad down the toilet? I'm curious. Do you mean like a female pad, or do you mean like a big pad like your dog may sleep on or something? Here's the thing. If you've got cast iron pipes that are kind of rough on the inside, it's probably going to grab it and catch it, and that's going to cause poop, toilet paper, anything like that to stick to it, and you're going to create a blockage. And then you're going to have to call somebody with a sewer machine, normally a plumber, to come clean that out. Hopefully, if you've already done it, it doesn't get stuck and it goes all the way out to the city, but those things cause problem at the wastewater treatment plant. Really, to be honest, there's only one thing, and we tell people all the time, pee, puke, poop, and paper isn't toilet paper. And really the only other thing that we ever recommend to flush are like the Cottonelle flushable wipes. And the reason being is we've tested them. We know that they almost come apart just like toilet paper. So other than that, man, there ain't much you want to stick down there, especially any female products, because they're big, bold, solid, and they're meant to last a lifetime. Cameron Paul says, what is your least favorite thing to do in plumbing? Talk to customers that don't want to pay. Because I think it's sorry that some people will bring people out to work on their plumbing system and then they don't want to pay them. That's called theft and robbery and cheating and things like that. And I know that's probably not the answer you thought. Believe it or not, really service-wise, there's nothing in plumbing that bothers me. Stopped up toilets, stopped up sewer lines, sewer camera, sewer machine, it doesn't matter. I don't mind climbing under houses. I don't mind climbing on roofs. Man, it's crazy, guys. I love what I do. And I know that sounds crazy, but I love plumbing. I have fun at it. I enjoy it. Julie's literally got to tell me, look, don't go out there and do that. You're either too old for that. You don't need to be up there by yourself. You don't need to be down there by yourself, whatever it is. Man, look, I've been doing this for years. I love plumbing. And that's why I get so excited talking about it. And I really do. I try and recruit for the trades all the time because I think it's great. Clark Kent, 614, Superman in the house. I love it. What is your thought of dielectric unions? I'll tell you what, I love them. But then again, I understand electrolysis and why you need them. I love using dielectric unions on top of water heaters, thread onto the dielectric nipple sticking up, and go into the dielectric union and then come out of the top with a solder joint. Go from the zinc to copper or whatever, however the union's put together, whatever type it is. But man, I'm telling you, man, they work. And I think they're good to have, especially on a water heater, because then you can just unscrew it, slide the old one out, slide the new one in, and it can help. Southern Mama Drama in the house, the man, the myth, the legend. We're talking about you, though, not me. See, I know what you're doing here. Black Fire Joe. And I thought that said Black Frioli, and I'm looking at it like, wait, what? I'm getting old and I'm getting tired. My eyes aren't good. I've had my right one worked on. Yeah, be careful when they try to sell you that crystal lens. It doesn't always work. Have you ever heard or seen a water heater explode? I've just seen it on Mythbusters. The good thing is if a plumber hooks up a water heater right, it's not going to explode. And I say that because you've got the TMP valve. You've got things done right. If you do things right, it's not going to explode. The only time you've ever got to worry about one exploding is when the safety features are bypassed, and that would be plugging the TMP valve, something like that. So don't do it. Crazy AJ, I like that. Roger Wakefield for president. You know what? Number one, I hate politics. Number two, I hate politicians probably more than politics. And that's not really true because, I mean, some of them are amazing. Some of them care about what we do. Some of them are just there for, I don't know, it's almost like they're there for the fun of it. Anytime you see a politician that talks trash about a group of people, being Chris Patty talking about plumbers and flushing our future and we're down the drain and all that. Anybody who votes for Chris Patty, man, I have no sympathy for you. You're getting what you asked for. But you know what? I mean, I could literally see being a politician to try to make things right. But, man, I look at some of these politicians and just think, what do? You're just a criminal. You're a criminal in a political position. You're getting paid to represent people and you're not representing them. There's a whole lot of different things that just blow my mind about it. I think I'd be a good president. I would be fair. I'm a Libra. And man, Julie couldn't handle it, though. She'd be like, oh, my God, Roger, you can't say that anymore. It's like, wait, I'm being honest. Katrina Bivens, how are you today? What would be easier to fix, a toilet clogged with 5 gallons of slime or a toilet clogged with a ton of Orbeez? Man, I think you're jacked up either way. Slime or Orbeez, I'm going to say they're both going to be about the same because my first thought would be try to pour salt in them to dehydrate them. You can pour salt on slime and dry it up. You can pour salt on Orbeez and dry it up. Either way, man, you're jacking up your plumbing system. Katrina, I hope you or your kids have not done this. If you have kids, just first thing I thought. And if you're trying to figure out would be easier to fix because you're really trying to figure out deep down inside what would be the worst thing to do, I can give you an address of a house here in Dallas you can go do this at just because I'm curious. Not going to say anybody's names or anything, but, I know some people that need to find out what slime or Orbeez would do to their sewer system. Pretty funny. So, man, and I just looked over here, and Stan Chubik's in here. It says, just got a call on a tankless water heater installed by a non-licensed plumber, and it's short on gas. And it's so funny because I have people ask me all the time, well, I'm thinking about putting in a tankless. Well, the very first thing we've got to do is do a gas load calculation to see if the house will handle it. Oh, no, I've already had a handyman come out. He says it'll work. Yeah, there's your problem right there. So, man, I get it. Israel Escobar says, is Roto-Rooter a good way to get my foot in the door with plumbing and to get my license? Man, any company you can go to work for in plumbing is a good way to get in the door. And the reason I say that is you can literally learn plumbing. Sometimes you may be learning the right way to do it. Sometimes you may be learning the wrong way, but you're going to learn plumbing. And I tell people all the time, look, watch what we do because we are trying to teach people the right way. And, you're going to realize after a while, if you're working for a scabby plumber, you're going to realize, you know what, this is not the way I want to treat people. This is not the way I want to do things. So anyway, man, this is cool. So I'm looking up here. It says Apprentice Plumber in Ireland. Love the videos. Shout me out. I'd love it. Man, you just got it, brother. David Kearney, that's fantastic. And then I look down here. I got Rohi Florian. Greetings from France, everybody. Guys, the cool thing is we are literally, man, this is so much fun, and I love this. We are getting people from around the world together to talk about plumbing. And I think it's great because, we do things different. Somebody asked a while ago, where was it? He asked about France, if they do things different over there.
Yep. Hugo was from France.
Hugo.
I saw another one we had from Poland and Germany.
Yeah, and man, we've got a lot of people from all around the world, and I think it's wonderful because, and let me ask you this, Rohi, and the one that was just up there, what was the name? Do you remember? The one that was just here?
Let me go look. David.
David. Okay, so guys, tell me, do y'all have the UPC code book or the IPC code book? And I'm asking because somebody asked a while ago, says, look, what's different in plumbing over there and over here? And to be honest, I don't know. I've never plumbed over there. But what I'll tell you is I'm loving the fact that look, we can get together and talk like this and find out, because I'm all about a national certification here in the United States. I think it would be a good thing for us to start pushing for and working towards, because my thing is, man, if that would happen, imagine when there's a flood. You know, we had Juliet Miranda in here a while ago. Miranda Lambert. We had Miranda Lambert in here a while ago, y'all. Her and Kenny Chesney were in here hanging out with me. The cool thing is, though, we had her in here, and she's down in Florida, down in New Orleans. And imagine, they tried basing a lot of the plumber problems with the state board on Hurricane Harvey. And if we had enough plumbers sitting here in Texas to be prepared for anything that happened like a natural disaster, 99% of the time in the next 20 years, we're not going to need them, because we're never going to need that every day. So you're going to have licensed plumbers that have no jobs, can't make a living, and going to be living on unemployment. So my thing is, what could we do? We could have a national certification. I know Grayson's all hot over Miranda Lambert. Would it be have a national certification? Just a couple of years ago, Boston was looking for plumbers to work on the gas lines. New Orleans is like almost always looking for medical gas people for hospitals or to recover from floods. And, right here, Shade Runner 343 says, will my license from Massachusetts transfer to Texas, or would I need to take a reciprocity exam? And you'll have to call the state board. I don't remember which states just move like that. So anyway, man, I love the idea of finding out how people around the world plumb and around the United States. Because look, just around the United States, we do things different. But if we could come up with a national certification, man, it would make life so much better for so many tradespeople.
By the way, we got about 9 minutes.
Cool. Thank you, Will. Samuel Games says, I generally need to know how to unclog a toilet without a plunger. I'm not joking, please. Go to the 5-minute craft video. Matter of fact, just go over to their channel, because they're going to make you think it'll work. I'm going to tell you, yeah, it's probably not. But you know what? Man, that they literally flushed the toilet, filled it. First of all, wrap it in cellophane. Use like 3 rolls, so you probably better off just to go buy a plunger, because you're going to need enough cellophane on there that you either don't poke a hole in it or it literally pushes down. Try and flush it, and when it pushes it up and the cellophane comes up, push on it real hard, and you're either going to push a hole in it and push your hand down in the toilet, so be careful, or it's not going to work. But if you don't have a plunger, it might be worth a try. And if it does, I want you to make sure you go in my video about that and say, hey, look, I tried it. It worked. Thanks for helping me. Got a super chat here from Subwoofer Protogen. How are you? How long do tank water heaters last? Mine is 18 years old and works fine. Dude, you are living the dream. Tank top water heaters, and I said tank top, not tank top. Tank top water heaters normally last 8 to 10 years. They do make some with 12-year warranty that can probably work 12 to 14. If you treat them right, if you flush them, if you change the anode rod in the first year or two, and you flush them on a regular basis, I've seen some last 20 years. And at 18 years old, you've got your money's worth out of it. You are doing really, really good. Congratulations to you. Jesse Fultz says, is it hard to be a plumber? No. If I can do it, anybody can. 10 years on water heaters.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I have and then you can go to this one I just sent over, but I got a bathroom sink.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only place that smells bad when the water is running in the apartment. What could that be?
When the water is running?
When the water's running, but when the water's running in the shower or the kitchen sink, it's fine.
Is the bathroom sink, is it where the AC condensate drain is tied into? Because it could be some funk down in the drain.
I have no idea. We're in an apartment right now. I have no idea, and the maintenance guys are clueless. They don't know anything. Might
check and see if that's where the AC drains into. You may try having them pour bleach or there should be a pan above your bathtub that gets into the bottom of the air conditioning pan. Sometimes you can pour bleach in there, and that'll rinse out that drain. Coming to it, pour bleach in the drain that it is. Normally, if it's just one sink like that, it's normally not the water line. It's normally what's something in the drain line. And, you know, you're the only one that's ever lived there, but you may try taking the drain apart, see if something crawled down in there and died. I've seen that before too. James Bergeron says, I have a question. The sink in my bathroom is draining very slowly. I have tried plunging it and putting a cleaner down it and still draining slowly. What can I do to fix that and make it drain? We did a video about one where we literally filled it with Orbeez, took it apart, show you how to clean that P-trap out and do all that. You may want to do that, but you want to be extremely careful because once you started putting drain cleaners down it, that stuff is very bad for you. If it gets in your eyes, gets on your skin, anything like that, it can be dangerous. So please be very careful. Mason Haley says, hey, Roger, real question. If you got time, I'm a year into learning service. Is it wrong to want to get my license ASAP and not want to stick with the company I work for? When am I ready to take when I'm ready to take the test? So, Mason, I'd have to ask you, where do you live? What state are you in? What are the laws on getting your license? And I ask that because in Texas, you've got to have at least 2 years to get your tradesman. You've got to have at least 4 years to get your journeyman. And you've got to have at least 1 more year after your journeyman if you went through a DOL training program, and 4 years if you didn't to get your master's. In Texas, if you open your own company and do things like that, if you don't have the right licenses, you're breaking the law and you can get in trouble, and it can really come back to haunt you. So I would just say, look at what the laws are in your state and what you need to do, and you'll be good. Got a super chat from Dennis Jetsman. I think I said that right 3 times. Got close. I have a question. I have almost no hot water in the shower, and the water pressure generally is bad in the shower. Pressure is fine everywhere else, and temperature is too. What could be the issue? Dennis, do you have a one-handed tub and shower valve or shower valve, like a cartridge type? Chances are that's probably what it is. If it's a 3-handle, like an old price Fixture, could be seats and washers, but you've probably got a 1-handle tub and shower valve or shower valve. Probably need a new cartridge in there. Also, if it's just a shower, you might try pulling the shower head, see if it's clogged up. That could be it, and that could be slowing things down a lot. So that would be my first thing to look at. Guys, we got about 3 minutes left. Let's do just a couple more questions, and I'll close this thing up. Roger, do you think it's okay to use crimp PEX fittings on expandable PEX? Do you think there could be any long-term issues that could be from doing so? Yeah, I think there can be long-term issues because that's not what they're designed for. Can it work, or can it work for a while? Probably so. Me being the responsible master plumber and having the insurance and the license and everything, I would be worried about it coming back on me later. So, man, that's just something. I want to use the right fittings for the right pipe at the right time with the right tools, the whole 9 yards. Andrew Balo says, do many plumbers in North America silver braze? Here in Australia, soft solder is not allowed. Soft solder is still allowed here. And I'm curious as to why it's not allowed in Australia. It's definitely allowed here. We soft solder every day. Brazing is something we only do if we're making a slab leak repair. So anyway, yeah, man, we do silver solder, but normally soft solder almost every day. Like I said, silver solder is only under a slab. And here's a good one. What do you do when a customer refuses to pay? Man, there's different ways. We contact our attorneys. We've got different things we do. It's just, it's a pain, and we hate having to deal with it. Guys, if you've never been here before and you enjoyed this tonight, number one, do me a favor, please. Number one, give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Number two, come back. Subscribe and ring the bell so you see what we're doing. You see when we're doing it. You get notified and you can come hang out with us. If you stumbled into this accidentally and this is the first video that got showed to you and this is a replay, look, as you see, we have fun. We love what we're doing. And, man, we love talking plumbing. What I will say is, if there's 300 people in here and we only got 100 and something thumbs up, man, come on. If you like what we did, give us a thumbs up. Let YouTube know, let us know that you like what we're doing. If you really like it, man, share this video with somebody. Share it with somebody that you think may like to learn more about plumbing, more about becoming better at the trades, and possibly even in opening their own business one day. If you have not done it, please go over to the Trade Talks, subscribe to that channel. We have got the first video edited. We're getting ready to put it up. We're making a podcast over there. And literally that is to help recruit people to the trades. Everything we talk here about plumbing, recruiting people into the trades, getting better at the trades, possibly opening your own trades company. And even if you have your own trades company, possibly one day open it up and making it better and learning how to use social media for it. So, man, we're talking about a lot of stuff. But, guys, at the end of the day, we're definitely trying to make all the trades even better, whether it's plumbing, roofing, electrical, HVAC. I know that we talk about plumbing here, and Aaron Galindo, yes, it is worth moving to Texas. Plumbers make good money, and we're definitely in need of them. Guys, man, this has been fun. This is probably the longest I'm ever on my feet all at the same time. I want to say thanks to Paul Peck and Neil, the Urban Explorer. Thanks to Juliet Miranda for jumping in. Thanks to Julie Wakefield, Will Rosebrock, Grayson Poirier, Amber Mendoza, everybody that jumps in and moderates and helps. We've had troll problem in the past. We hadn't had it in a long time. But thanks to all the 320 some odd people, however many got in here at one time, man, we do this for y'all. And don't get me wrong, we have fun talking about plumbing, but to come in here and do this every week, make 3 videos a week. Those of y'all that aren't connected with me on LinkedIn, jump over there and send me a connection request. Tuesdays, I talk plumbing with Julie. Thursdays, I talk plumbing with Amber Mendoza. And, man, we love it. We have fun in what we're doing. So anyway, I want to say thanks again for all you coming by. Like I said, if you hadn't, please subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on anything that we do here. We are having fun, and we try to come back every week and talk plumbing. Stan, thank you very much. Anyway, guys, I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.